the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, Radford pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark.
And good morning. How are you? It's a Thursday here on the program. Hope you're well, wherever you might be. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room and on the professional door text line 391-0788. Today, we did have a little bit of shuffling with our lineup today. This devil flu that's going around, I think that's the best way to call it. The devil flu. Coach Ragsdale not going to be on because he's not feeling well, and Marty has to go to the doctor today. I'm not sure if it was for that. So all these things kind of happened yesterday afternoon, so we're going to reschedule Marty and Rags for next week. Of course, we certainly understand not being able to participate. So we will reschedule Marty and Rags for next week because everybody's sick. And whatever this is that has gone around and affected everyone, including yours truly, it does not want to go away. And it is very widespread. So, yeah. So we have David Smith coming up at 6:30 today. We'll talk NFL going into the Super Bowl, talk about some of the coaching hires, Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline, and Dwight Vick. So we're still going to have a really good show, just no Marty and Rags today before I head out of town to Charleston. And as I woke up this morning, I see that the weekend forecast took a turn for the worse. And this thing that was supposed to maybe clip us, that was going eastward, is now going to make its way westward, and we're going to get clobbered this weekend. So we have a whole lot going on, and I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing this weekend with basketball travel. But, now they're saying 6 to 8 inches. I haven't seen Kevin Might's update, but the National Weather Service of Blacksburg has up the total. The last thing we need on top of this, it's not going away because it's ice. And we're going to have snow on the ground throughout the entire month of February into March if this comes as badly as they're saying. And they usually don't issue watches that quickly turn into warnings this soon unless they're pretty sure. So I don't know how that's going to affect games this weekend. If games were affected last weekend, I can only imagine, because this thing's coming through and it's going to clip all of North Carolina through Mount Airy and that whole southern perimeter from the tip of Virginia. So not good news, and I hate to be the one to spread it, but I'm sure you've been keeping up with it anyway. But it seems to always be the worst scenario, doesn't it? Morning, everybody in chat. Hope everybody's okay. So now I'm pretty stressed out about all that. For instance, our basketball team was not scheduled to come home. We play Charleston tonight, and they're just going to Clinton tomorrow morning. They'll be fine. They won't be making it home Saturday. There's no way you're coming over the mountain in a bus if that type of scenario hits. It's supposed to hit here Friday afternoon and go all the way through Saturday. So it's just going to be an absolute mess. That's the last thing we need is more snow on top of this. But it looks like it's going to be pretty bad this weekend. But anyway, deal with that as we come to it. But no Marty and Rags because everybody's sick, and we still have a good show lined up for you today. So when David comes on here in just a little bit, we're going to talk about the playoffs, coaching changes, and we'll just have fun with it. Good morning, Opal. How are you? We won't bring up the S word, Opal, but maybe even you understand that this is not something we need this weekend, being the snow bunny on top of what we already have. The only positive is that there's no ice. It's all snow. Yeah, I remember that, TLB. You get snow in December, January, and you would not see it gone until end of February. Yeah, it's the way it's going to be here. So good luck to any of the stick and ball teams at Radford and Tech that have scheduled games at home for the month of February. Because even if you get your fields cleaned off, everything else is still going to be covered up. So it's terrible. It's awful. No, Stephen, don't bring it on. So explain that sentence to me. Bring it on. How can that be something you want when nothing's moving and everything has to stop and you could still have potential for power to go out? How can anyone want more of this, especially to that magnitude? I mean, if it comes 6 to 8 inches, woo. I mean, nothing's going to be moving. I don't understand. Never have, never will. And now you're concerned about all the travel that the teams have to make. Like Virginia plays Tech on Sunday. I don't understand. I don't understand how that's going to work. Okay, well, that's your scenario, Stephen. You get time off. The rest of us don't. So it's fine you feel that way, but nobody else has that scenario usually. Appreciate your benefit, I guess, but I don't know how many other people have it. That's why Georgia Tech crapped out on you this year, because you love snow. If you had the proper mindset about all this winter weather, they may have been a little better for you down the end. By the way, who's the new quarterback there? We were talking about this yesterday, Stephen. Who's the new quarterback at Georgia Tech? Also, your wife has to go to work, and you don't care because you don't have to. Is that what you're telling me? We were talking about Georgia Tech. Was it yesterday with Teal? Yeah, I think it was. No, it was with Damien. Yeah. Who's Georgia Tech's new quarterback? Well, I don't care about four. Give me one who's the front runner. Is anybody worth a damn? Or is it just four guys you're going to try out and you don't know yet? If you don't know yet, you're in trouble. So in other words, you didn't sign anybody from the portal. Is that right? Because I'm wondering how that's going to happen for them because they really had a breakthrough in their program. And Haynes King was the main part of it. And now I want to see how they sustain themselves without him. It's going to be very interesting to see. That's what I was saying when you're looking at the Tech schedule. And we'll talk about this with Andy. I just don't think that there's any scenario where you can look at Tech's, ACC schedule necessarily other than the travel part. And think this game is unwinnable or that game. I mean, you just don't know. Mensah is going to be the new quarterback in Miami, but how does he fit in? Is he a team leader? He has a very controversial transition going on, just like Carson Beck kind of did. But to me, it feels like Tech has an opportunity in this league to be okay. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I don't think we know about Mendoza's brother. He never has played. Just here and there. And he went to Georgia Tech. Let's put it this way. If you just read between the tea leaves, Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman Trophy. He's kind of the face of college football for the national champion Hoosiers. And his brother immediately left Indiana to go to Georgia Tech. Kind of tells you that Kurt Cignetti wasn't going to give him an opportunity to be the quarterback. All right, doesn't that make sense? Why would he leave Indiana if he was going to, I mean, what a great storyline that would have been. From one Mendoza to the next. Maybe he didn't want all that noise. I don't know. But to me, I think it'd be a red flag if I'm a Georgia Tech fan that Indiana didn't do a whole lot to keep him. Right. So we'll see. We'll see. Right. I mean, what a great marketing thing. It would have kept Indiana going. I mean, if he could play and if he could come in, wouldn't they have given him an offer to stay after what that family has meant to the program and vice versa? But he was out, the day after when they got back into Bloomington? And he was gone. I guess, but if you're leaving one place because you don't want the pressure of high expectations as a quarterback, if I'm the coach that's thinking about accepting you into my program, I'm like, what are you going to do when we're tied at 24 against Florida State and we need you to go out there and drive us down the field? Are those kind of expectations going to scare you off too? Well, he's always going to be known as the brother of. I mean, right? Yeah, they did. They signed TCU's quarterback. But again, I would have thought that would have been something that would have been put in place months before. Okay. Well, we know we're losing Fernando. If his brother could play, would they have gone? It kind of backs up my point, Chris. If his brother could play the way Cignetti needs him to play, they don't go out and spend that money on that guy, right? They would have spent the money on Mendoza. I mean, I think that stands to reason. Anyway. No, I think Eli did just fine. Eli's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Couple Super Bowls. I think he's coexisting pretty well with his brother, to be honest with you. But we'll see. No, I haven't. Everybody's still mad about Belichick. Dockich is a tough listen most of the time. But he doesn't pull any punches, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, the whole Belichick not making the Hall thing went to a different level as the day progressed yesterday. And now the NFL saying they're going to change stuff, which is interesting to me because the NFL is completely spineless. So it was interesting to see that they're going to change and look at some of the voting rights and all of this stuff. And where did I see that? Let me see here. I don't know. Yeah, here you go. The Pro Football Hall of Fame made a statement on media reports related to Hall of Fame class of 2026, saying that the Hall of Fame understands the passionate reaction of fans. I'm just getting through all the bull crap here. Each year, the Hall reviews the selection process and the composition of the 50-person selection committee. If it is determined that any member violated the selection bylaws, they understand that action will be taken that could include the possibility that such selections would not remain a member of the committee moving forward. So, in other words, the NFL and the Hall of Fame, two separate entities, but they work arm in arm in all of this, feeling some pretty big heat about Belichick. Isn't that wild? So stay tuned. He might still get added to the class, and who knows? I just know one thing. There was some really good AI stuff going around with fake Belichick press conferences. The one thing that's really kind of surprised me about AI is that like 98% of the time you immediately know something's AI. We kept being told during this wave of transition and this new technology that we wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Well, you can tell the difference pretty quickly. And some of those that they set up with Belichick responding can't play on the air. But they're pretty funny. They're pretty funny. Correct. And, I'm not a big fan of his either. And they did cheat. But over 300 wins, second most wins all time, 31 playoff wins, 6 Super Bowls. And we talked about this yesterday. If he's not in, then no coach after him is ever going to get in first ballot again, or they shouldn't. I don't know how you explain it if they do. And there's a lot of guys. We went through the list yesterday, right? At some point, Andy Reid's going to come available. Mike Tomlin now officially is on the clock. Sports has just segued into so many slippery slopes, man. And I think that's been the major problem for a lot of us as sports fans. Sports is a distraction. It takes us out of the real world. We pour ourselves into it, which is why I think so many people are willing to keep riding the wave of all these horrible evolutions of college football and college athletics. But when the world, which all we hear is negativity about, keeps showing up in decisions that are made with sports, how sports business is run, you're cross-contaminating the waters, so therefore you get a lot of bitterness. and so forth. And I think we're seeing more and more of that, as opposed to sports being able to operate on its own and kind of be what it always has been, because they used to have stronger leadership, especially in the professional leagues. They don't have any strong leadership now. The NBA, David Silver's an absolute, he's just an ass clown. He's just a joke. Rob Manfred is destroying Major League Baseball. There's going to be a work stoppage after 2026 that might wipe out the whole 2027 season. Roger Goodell brags about how much money he makes and how much money he's making the league, never says a word about anything. Ever. So we don't have the kind of leadership that we used to have. We don't have the Pete Rozells, the groundbreaking, imaginative folks. Paul Tagliabue did a great job. David Stern, who was so great as the NBA commissioner. So great. And I don't even remember the last good baseball commissioner. Geez, it's been a long time. Long time. And the problem is all those guys work for the owners anyway. And maybe we're just getting a different type of owner for all these sports. I don't know. I don't know. But we do know that the Ready Set Fund is ready to help you. ReadySetFund.com. They will help you in every way, shape, and form. Get ready for whatever you're trying to do to raise some money for your sports team, church group, school group, whatever it might be. David Chris. Give Bob Chris a call. He's David's brother. CRIST@gmail.com. Thanks to Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line. I bet you I got 60 texts throughout the day yesterday. It's great. Just people talking about sport, things that come to their mind. I love it. I love that we're kind of like the watering hole. Hit me up anytime. Thanks, Travis. 38 years in business. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner, BDST on YouTube. My exclusive banking partner for 35 years. Congratulations to Lara Ramsey. BDST fan question of the week. The winner is Wings. 701 West Main Street in Radford. He's Ryan Pry, the attorney, trust and estate planning. We asked what your favorite Super Bowl go-to was to eat, and everybody said wings. Just about everybody. 70-some% said wings. 78%. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Charles Lee, be safe as you're out trying to keep people warm. What a great conversation we had with Jonathan Sweet yesterday. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, presenting sponsor of this program. How excited is he about the IHRA, the kayak community coming here? They also sent their new logo out yesterday, which is great, with a sportsplex. And it's going to look like that. Can y'all see that? There you go. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Mark Huntley, we're still thinking about you. Hope you and your mom are okay. McClellan Chiropractic. Go see Mark. The good doctor is in to help you. 155 Walters Drive, 540-382-3333. Family Fencing. Thanks to Jason Green. Family Fencing sponsors our studios here. Free quotes at 540-200-8294. Get ready for the spring now. FamilyFencingNRV.com. Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, Austin's Mobile Home Supply. Since 1997. Give James a call at 540-381-8011. And the NRV Super Bowl, they're going to be having a special Super Bowl party all day long. You can bowl and watch the game and do everything that you want and have a great, great time doing it. Give them a call at 540-382-5525. TLB says the only decent commissioner was Commissioner Gordon on the original Batman. Yeah, he was pretty good, wasn't he? He understood his limits. Trust me, Morris, it's days like this I wish we were down on the Palm Coast with you getting this god-awful update on this forecast. I'm just waiting for Myatt. He has not sent it out yet. He's extremely thorough. And if you are on X, my advice to you is to find Kevin Myatt, Myatt, and he'll give you every positive aspect about weather and so forth that you ever need. So appreciate all the folks on the text line. Yeah, I went and got apparently what this turned into was it was called an acute viral bronchitis. So I'm not carrying any contagious part of this, but I sat around yesterday and realized that this cough was not going away. It was not subsiding. So I went to the Velocity Care. They were great. And the doctor that I saw, I'm sorry I didn't get your name in case you're watching. He knew the show, which was great. He's like, Rick Watson, you do Big Dog Sports Talk? Yeah, I do. Here's all the drugs that you need. But now I've got antibiotics, and my voice is still on the back end of it a little bit, but okay. Christopher says, yeah, Commissioner Gordon. The GOAT. Wasn't he, though? Because, he knew when to let Batman, do his thing, right? He knew when the criminal element was getting a little too hot and heavy. And he would back off, but he'd also be very firm with Batman when he needed to be. So anyway, I've got 2 different antibiotics. They gave me a steroid, so I'm ready to go. Yeah, I got kudos to the Velocity Care people over here in Christiansburg. I will single them out. They were outstanding. They had some people in there. I got in, got out. I waited maybe 1 minute out in the waiting room. Hey, come on back. Did all their thing, met the doctor, started talking about the show and sports. And the next thing you know, I'm walking out of the drugstore with bags full of drugs. It was a good day.
My man.
Always a good day. Wait a minute. Is that him? It's David Smith.
First of all, man, how are you doing over there? I just logged in, so I didn't hear your spiel. I'm assuming you got some medicines.
Yeah. What it was, I knew I didn't feel sick anymore, but I couldn't lose the cough, right? And I would sound like I was on my deathbed. And so it ends up being some kind of bronchitis thing. So they gave me all sorts of antibiotics to kind of knock it out, but it wasn't pneumonia yet. So we battled through. Got to figure out this weekend now, though, because it's going to get worse here. How are you?
Well, I'm okay. I have nothing to complain about after checking on you. It's that time of year. The crud has hit us, and here we go, Rick. Again, you and I are. Where is June? Where is July?
Right.
Where is August and September? And we may be alone in that. And I know we don't have football during that time, but we've got weather that's not
Correct.
this. And for all those winter people, I would say to them, congratulations, you got what you wanted. Nothing like crusty snow that won't melt and bronchitis and flus and cough and short days and slushing around. Nothing like that. Yeah. Versus
exactly.
An uncomfortable hot day. Okay, we're sweating a little.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
thunderstorm stuff. Yeah. We're not going to sit in it anyway.
Well, we're going to go inside and cool off a little bit, right? Or have a nice beverage,
or a pool or something to that effect. So, and I'd be on this. If I'm on this show in June and it's 98, I'm going to still be on that hill going. It beats January 27th of this summer. I mean, of this winter.
Correct.
So there you
Correct.
go. So
yeah,
I'm trying to convince everybody, blow by blow, that this is not the season for me. So if it's your season, congratulations.
Yeah, I never want to hear anybody say, "Oh, but it's so pretty." No, it's not. There's nothing. No, stop. Stop.
And more coming this weekend for those who love it.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
You are.
I don't know how. Yeah, and actually, it's going to be more than this past weekend. Just not ice. Just none of it ice.
Yeah,
so.
It's more of a snow event. So happy snow, folks.
All right. So before we get started, Bill Belichick did not make it in as the first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I have some problems with some of the things that he did. I mean, let's say the way it was, Spygate was wrong. They did it twice. That got confirmed. And Spygate, when you're filming a Super Bowl walkthrough, that's about as low as it gets.
Right.
His protege did it for Denver when Josh McDaniel was the head coach. He did it to the 49ers when they were playing overseas. Got caught, turned the tapes in, admitted it. It's cheating. Okay, but all that aside, you can't win 300 games, 6 Super Bowls, and have 31 playoff wins and not be a first ballot Hall of Famer, right?
Well, that's exactly it. And again, all those things have been documented and confirmed, and they happen.
Yes.
They're not the reason he's the best coach of all time, solely. So I just think this had a lot to. It's absurd, really, is what it is. I mean, if he were a guy that was on the cusp, you could say, well, maybe that's enough to keep him out. But he won 6 rings. He went to, I think, 8 Super Bowls as a head coach.
Right.
He went to 10 if you include his time as a defensive coordinator. That's 10.
Right.
It's only been 59, Rick. He's been to 10 of them. And
he's familiar with it. Yeah.
He knows what it is. And I just think sometimes these writers, again, everybody carries grudges and this thing gets petty and whatnot. But when it comes to coaches, and they've changed the rule now to not make them have the 5-year wait that they used to. They now only make them have to wait 1 year. And it's practical, Rick. Coaches are older. I heard Jimmy Johnson talking about this yesterday. Coaches are older. Allow them to be able to see it on their terms. 5-year wait when coaches finish at 65 or 70. There's no guarantee they'll be able to take that in themselves. You would hate to see it being posthumous. And so Bill Belichick can be crusty, but ask his guys that he played for, and they will say to a man, he's the reason we won these rings. And it's never any hesitation. Brady himself said it yesterday. I also get to the point where everyone, pinpoints those things that he did, and there's no question he did them. That's just the one who got caught. Are we going to sit here and say that I heard Jimmy Johnson again yesterday, he mentioned it. He said, we tried to do some of those same things, trying to get some of the signs. And is it the right thing to do? Harbaugh in Michigan had some of that going on and that kind of thing. And so we recognize the ones who've gotten caught. We also, what we don't know is what we don't know. And so it's hard for me to believe that the only person in the history of football to ever try to get signs stolen to gain an advantage was Bill Belichick. And even with that, he still coached people better than anybody else. It's absurd. The NFL dropped the ball on a chance again to do the right thing. And I'll close with this. Being a first, people say, well, he's going to get in anyway. Yeah. There is an incredible significance, Rick, to being a first ballot anything in any sport.
Yeah.
It is a mic drop moment that says, no question about it, undeniably, you were absolutely the best of the best, and he won't get that moment now.
No, he
won't get it.
He'll get in next year, but what's it going to mean? What's it going to mean to everybody? You're right. It's the more I saw through it yesterday and looked at some of the comments, it made me think this was done because of bitterness. This was done because of the way I guess he was at the time.
Yep.
Yeah. It had to be. But,
and if you think back, Terrell Owens, who a lot of folks thought had his crazy ways too, was no question a first ballot Hall of Famer. But the writers decided this was our shot to get back at him, and they made him wait. And so what he did, and it was odd in the moment, he says, I'm not going to Canton to celebrate. I'll show you.
I'll
just do it at my college.
Yeah.
Send me the jacket. And so everyone was like, well, why is T.O. that way? T.O. And again, now for my money, He's arguably the best that's ever been a receiver in terms of total package. He had some things that weren't great about him off the field, but the Hall of Fame isn't that. Lawrence Taylor's in. What do you want to talk about? Off the field? Is he not a first ballot? What are we talking about here? He is what can you be a zero ballot? Talking about first. He should have he should have walked right out of the locker room straight to Canton, Rick.
The day he retired, hey, I'm here, guys. Where's my bust? It's right there already. Yeah.
So if it's not the Hall of Fame's opportunity to judge people on all these things. This isn't baseball. Yeah, I know baseball's got its own set of things with steroids and all that, and we'll save that for another day because I'm sure you've got your take on that too.
I do. Wow, what do we got to get into? Okay, let's look at some of the head coaches' hires so far.
Well,
what we're looking at here. I'm not sure anybody has made. John Harbaugh in New York seems like a really good hire.
Right.
Saleh, we'll see in Tennessee. What do you think so far? Right now, I'm just kind of like, really?
It's been hadn't it? It's been But you know, it's funny. I don't know that when Dan Campbell went to Detroit years ago and they biting kneecaps, everyone clowned Dan Campbell, including me. I was like, what? Biting kneecaps. I said, is this what Detroit needs right now? It's exactly what they needed, Rick. So there are times when these things hit and there's times when they don't. I don't know how we felt about Sean McVay when he got the job. He couldn't have been more than 30, 31 at the time. He had been at Washington. He had been with Shanahan. He had been with LaFleur, all of them on that Washington staff with Mike Shanahan, if I'm not mistaken. And Kyle Shanahan was on that staff too. I'm not sure that we knew that they were going to be great either. But Todd Monken got the job with Cleveland yesterday. It's the most Cleveland thing I've ever seen. Todd Monken reportedly didn't get along with Lamar Jackson. So you're going to take him. Here's the guy we want. The guy that was at the two-time MVP couldn't get along with you. Cause, in my opinion, just based on what you see, John Harbaugh probably was Monken's guy. And Lamar doesn't get along with him. Hey, you got to get along with him. We're not great. Everybody leaves. Bisciotti gets rid of everybody. Monken gets a job with Cleveland. And John Harbaugh gets a job at the Giants, which I support, by the way, the Harbaugh hire. But Harbaugh's record, if you think about him and Mike McCarthy, who's got the Steelers job, probably not a lot different. How many Super Bowls they both got? They both got one. Now Mike McCarthy doesn't really illuminate people, and I'm sure people doesn't really inspire. But he's been with the Packers. He's been with the Cowboys. He's got about 180 wins. Now, you call it what you want, but everybody's going to win games with great quarterbacks. And so people may say, well, he had Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. So Bill Belichick had Tom Brady. Well, who's going to get 200 wins without a good quarterback? Mike Tomlin had Ben Roethlisberger for the longest stretch. And when he didn't have him, they struggled. So you associate coaching wins with great quarterbacks. And so I don't have the biggest problem with Mike McCarthy going to Pittsburgh, although they've never hired a coach that was older than 40 years old. Yeah. And so seeing that, but he's a Pittsburgh guy. He's a Pittsburgh guy, Rick, and you and I are Tomlin guys. And so we just feel like, boy, to follow that guy, you had to come in with somebody. Maybe he's going to be the right guy. Don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. It doesn't matter who you put in there. You can ask Nick Saban about that. He was with the Dolphins. He gets the job, and he didn't stay there 2 years. Why is that? Because he didn't take Drew Brees when he could have. Sean Payton got him. They failed the physical. He ends up with Dante Culpepper, a second version of him, not the version that was in Minnesota.
No.
And it ended up going back to Alabama or going to Alabama. So
right.
You got to get that right. My Dolphins hired Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, Rick. And I saw his press conference and his interview. and again, these press conferences are fine and this and that and the other. He looks the part. But again, we have no idea how it's going to translate. We have no idea. They also hired the GM from Green Bay as well. So if we can feel like, if we have confidence in the way that the Packers are run, then maybe you can feel like this is going to be a good move because, Rick, at the end of the day, Miami needed to blow it up. They needed to change that thing up, and they did. They got a guy that looks like as you said before, a leader of men versus who we had before. So we will see. We will see.
And he's a good dude, too. He's a good dude.
Yes.
We had him on the show twice when he was the head coach at BC. Yeah, he came on the show twice. It was a great conversation. Very sharp guy. I don't know, like you said, I don't know how it's going to transfer over. But he's a good dude, so I like it. Up for him. Yeah.
Well, I think Miami at this point is in a mode where they need somebody that's going to come in and change all that. And so maybe we've got our Mike McDonald that's with the Seahawks now with Miami. And I think you have to, and they're going to up in that roster. I mean, there'll be no more Tua. I'll be shocked if he throws another football for the Dolphins. So to me, what I love to see is Malik Willis, the Malik Willis version we saw play when Jordan Love got hurt, come to Miami to be part of that Packer South movement. That would be great. The one that I found odd, Rick, is Kevin Stefanski going to the Falcons. Now, a lot of people felt just on paper an offensive guy going to play with all those weapons down there in the turf in a winnable division sounds okay. But it wasn't really received well by the Atlanta fan base. They felt like they could have done better. You know, there's this whole Stefanski didn't do Shador right. Deion's an icon in Atlanta. Is there some of that fallout? Atlanta's a very, very cultural town. They really support their team. If he goes in there and he gets them bad boys playing like the greatest show on turf, all will be forgotten. They'll be like right there with him. So we got to see how that one works. Although I don't know that Stefanski ever had a chance in that bad Cleveland organization. So I think the Raiders' job right now is the only one I don't think's been filled yet, and so we're gonna have to see how that goes. But I also don't mind the fact that Jesse Minter is going back to Baltimore. They stay culturally the same. So if you like Jeff Hafley going to Miami, although he's been a head coach, as you mentioned, I think you say he was a head coach at BC. Didn't you say that? He's head coach at BC.
Boston,
right.
He did some decent things there.
Yeah. Well, do you think they take him back now the way they've been playing?
I think they probably would like to have Jeff Hafley back. Yes.
He's had a bit of a tough time. Jesse Minter going to Baltimore, coming from the Chargers, part of the Harbaugh mix. He was at Michigan with Harbaugh when they won a national championship. He spent time with Harbaugh in Baltimore, so they stayed in the brand. And I'm sure the Steelers probably wish they would have stayed in the brand a little bit. So yeah, the coaching thing, Rick, there were 10 new coaches this year out of 32 teams. 18 coaches
like
in the last 2 years. 18 coaches changed. I'm not sure that college changes players like people change underwear, but coaches, this is 18 out of 32 teams changing coaches in the last 2 years. And so everybody feels like they can be the new Seattle or they can be the new New England. But you better have the quarterback right, or all this is a moot point. All of it.
And if Wayne's asking what I would do if I'm Vegas, I would go, and after the Super Bowl win for Seattle, I will go get Clint Kubiak, and I will bring him in, and I will say, here you go. You're going to pair you with our number one guy, Fernando Mendoza, and just get out of the way.
100%.
And
that may be
2 years. Yeah.
Rick, I believe that may be Brady's move. He may be just saying, we don't have to hurry. At this point, what's 2 weeks going to matter? It's January. Let's get it right. And the fact that they haven't yet tells me that somebody that's coaching right now is probably the hire. They can't really get with them yet.
Correct.
Well, they could. I think there's a window that allows you a couple days to do it. But Brady understanding, and I'm making assumptions here, understanding the singular focus that Super Bowls entail, he's probably telling those guys, you go get that thing handled. We'll be over here waiting for you. You're our guy.
That's right. We got you in here. Yeah.
Who would know more than Brady? He's been to a million of them. So, again, making assumptions here at 6:40 in the morning. But I think that would be the way I go. Rick, that's a great move. The fact that he's highly thought of, get in there. Let's get Mendoza in there. The Raiders deserve to be better than that. They just do. I mean, you and I, and we're not going to date ourselves here, but Raiders and Steelers, when your uniform is black and gold and black and silver, you can't be soft. You can't be weak.
No.
It's ingrained in the culture of both of those franchises. If you're the Raiders, what more could you want in the world? Fantastic facilities. You're in Vegas. You've got an indoor. You've got everything you want. They just got to get it fixed. And I feel that they will. The challenge for them, though, Rick, is they're looking up at you all now. You guys are right there. The Chiefs are going to not take that laying down. The Chargers are not going to take, playoff teams, the Chargers and the Broncos. Broncos are 1 seed overall. So if you're the Raiders, don't worry, though, because I think every year 4 or 5 new teams make the playoffs. So they feel like you get the right guy in there, maybe we can have our Bo Nix moment here in year 1, if not year 2.
Well, we'll see how these play out. Still some more hires to be made, but some teams okay, some teams I'm not really sure about. But what we are sure about is we have a Super Bowl, a rematch. It was Super Bowl 49. Is that
49, 49, yeah.
Patriots and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Let's go to the AFC game first. I had no inclination the Broncos were going to be able to win with Jarrett Stidham because it's, you can't lose your quarterback like that going into the championship game and expect to be the team that's good. And that's what happened. But Sean Payton was the reason the Broncos didn't win that football game. It wasn't Jarrett Stidham. And
no, it wasn't.
He's taking a lot of heat, and he's actually absorbing that heat a lot more than I thought he would. He usually is a deflect guy a little bit,
Correct.
But he is saying I made a bad decision. You go up 2 scores, 10-0. It doesn't mean Denver would have won the game, but you're putting pressure on a team that's really struggling moving the ball against the great defensive effort the Broncos were putting forward against a second-year quarterback. And you knew the snow was coming. I mean, that was the forecast. They had talked about. I saw previews of the game. Well, the second half. So, and you live in Denver. You know how it comes over those mountains right down into the stadium. And yet they didn't score ever again. And they didn't really have come close on the other kicks. And I just don't think you gave yourself a chance because you wanted to be the smartest guy in the room. So Sean Payton failed the Broncos more, I think, on Sunday than Jarrett Stidham.
Not a whole lot to add to that. I literally watching the game. I was very sensitive that day. The weather was falling all over our region, and so I won't going to wear you out. I did send you the Go Broncos text to start the game, but I said I'm going to let him marinate over there. I know you were healing up too. I said I'm not going to wear him out today. I want him to be in full mode to watch it. And so when Stidham takes them down the field and they go up 7-0, I'm thinking, nice. And then their defense shut the Patriots down on so many levels. They had nothing going in the football game at all. Nothing. And so then they drove the Broncos again, second quarter, take the ball down the field again, and it got to 4th and 1. But, Rick, we have been on this hill for the years we've been on this show, and I don't know what is going on in college football or in pro football where 4th and 1 in a scoring zone or 4th and 2 or 4th and 4 has become a go for it thing when 3rd and 4 is hard. Right. 2nd and 4. I don't know why people in scoring zones, and where I may see it being okay a little more is if you're if you're goal line at times, maybe. But Rick, I'm from the old school of, and it doesn't mean it has to be this way. You can't go broke taking a profit. Kick field goals in games where the thing that matters the most is the score. Now, you add to it the fact that, to your point, Jim Nance and Romo on the broadcast said, the weather's nice now. We're expecting snow by second half. All right. So you've got Drake May, who hadn't played wonderfully all playoffs. He's been fine, but he hadn't set the world on fire against your elite defense. You take that field goal and off you go. Because here's the other thing, Rick. Let's say you make the first down. You still aren't in the end zone. So you still got to. So what the chances of you maybe having to then kick a field goal or whatever? And on top of that, the play design that they ran was horrible. Horrible. It's
terrible.
Horrible. It was horrible. A sprint out to the short side. Both defensive linemen for New England got pressure. It was done from. You had no other option if the one.
As soon as they snapped it was done. Yeah.
It was done. It was done. And then of course Stidham, the one thing he couldn't do later in the course. So they have. By the way, they dodged a bullet there. Got the ball back deep, and then I think it was 3rd down, and you knew you were going to punt because it was 3rd and long. You weren't going to make the first down against New England anyway. Play field position. The weather's coming. You already didn't get the 10 points. Now you're still at 7-0. What you can't do is give New England any hope. And what did he do? Just fall down. Just fall down.
Just go down.
Just go down. Just fall. Or throw it to Timbuktu. Get the play over. Let the punter win the game. Your punter had been amazing all day long. Punter had been fantastic all day long. Let him kick you out of it. Let the defense play the long field. And they did not. And then, Rick, of course, the thing that I think gets lost in this, which is not easy to do, what it is easy to do, is the fact that in a 10-7 game and the snow was falling, that your kicker had a chance to tie the game. And they blocked a kick that would have a field goal that could have been made. And I think they missed one other one, I believe. I think it was 4 missed kicks in the game.
Yeah. He missed three.
So you have all that. I can't hardly blame him for some of that. I think we'll look back at Adam Vinatieri and realize what he did years ago in that Raiders game with the snow being way worse and making that field goal. It can't come down to that, Rick. It can't come down to that. And so you don't get these. I'm a Dan Marino guy, and I think about your boys, and I go, when you're the host of an AFC championship game, there are no guarantees you're going to get it back. The Chiefs aren't going to lay down, Rick.
No,
they're not going to lay down. No. Some years you just have to take what the football gods give you, and you have all these wins, and you're at home, And Mile High, the greatest advantage you could ever have in sports, and the weather's coming in, bro, 10 points is going to win you the game probably anyway. That's one where I'm sure their whole offseason is going to take a while to get over. And you did all that without Bo Nix. Yeah. And so that's the tough part, Rick. Bo Nix is in that game. You win that football game.
They win
you
the
win
game.
that football
Yeah,
game.
they're going to win the football game. Yeah.
So a lot to feel good about with Denver. The challenge is that trying to get back to these things are so hard. I think we now love or hate them. The Patriots and the Chiefs, you just got to applaud the fact that year after year, with all the stuff happening, roster changes, salary cap stuff, injuries, they're able to get back to the Super Bowl all these years. It feels like the hardest mountain to climb in sports. And if you're Denver, you're going to look back at this one and feel like, man, missed it by that much.
The only thing that's giving me any solace, there's no way they would have beaten Seattle in the Super Bowl with Jarrett Stidham. So I don't want to lose another Super Bowl. I'd much rather lose the AFC. I've already lost 5 of them. I don't want to lose another Super Bowl. So
well, you know what? You are. That's a great question. So you would have rather have not gone.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah,
really.
I don't want to lose another Super Bowl.
So
they would have been blown out. They'd have been blown out.
So you one of those that think that the Buffalo Bills' 4 Super Bowl losses in a row was more of a detriment than an accomplishment?
It's a great accomplishment because they went 4 in a row. But I have a lot of friends who are Bills fans. They were like, after the first 2, we didn't want to go back to the third one.
Wow.
You know, John Elway said that.
Yeah.
You know, when they played the Packers out in San Diego, his mom actually called him. If you see that documentary, he said, Mom goes, do we have to go back to the Super Bowl? Because, they'd been beaten. Yeah.
Yes, they had. They had been beaten. Well, now I am so different, but I'll bet you those guys in the moment, though, that's not how they felt.
No, not in the moment. But when they looked at it, they were probably like, yeah, we couldn't have done much with Stidham. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what, though, Rick? But you know what? Nick Foles won one. And so you get inside. Well, it's not inside, it's outside. It's in San Francisco. But I feel what you're saying. But it's a lot to feel good about with y'all moving forward. I love what you got. I love what your base is, and you're still on a rookie quarterback deal. This is the time to make your hay. This is the time to make your hay. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. All right. What about Seattle? You get a good coach there, and you team him up with Sam Darnold, who nobody has wanted. Who feels worse about Sam Darnold right now? The Vikings. Nobody but the Vikings. The decision they made there.
I tell you, Rick, you can't not help but root for him. And what's so funny about Sam Darnold is there was the clip that we all saw that went viral last year in Minnesota. How the team picked him up in a regular season win toward the end of the season last year and put him on their shoulders. This was like a December game, and they showered him with water for being a leader of the team at that particular time. So the team loved him. You think Justin Jefferson loved him? Oh, my goodness. You're talking about having that team at the top. Now, they didn't have success in the playoffs. That happens. Sometimes the playoffs come. You think about the Chargers have been to the playoffs the last 2 years, haven't been able to scratch the surface at all in terms of Justin Herbert moving them forward. Man, sometimes you just got to get in that thing and see what happens. And so they decided all season long last year, when the time to re-up Sam Darnold, that JJ was going to be their guy, and they were attached to him, Rick. You and I were talking, man, I'm not so sure. He's an unproven guy. And then you and I talked, and we go, well, they must know something. And what they know is they made a mistake. Sam Darnold, as soon as he was available, Seattle snatched him right up, signed him to a team-friendly deal, although it's a nice deal. They decided they've had enough of the Geno move, and they got out of Geno just that quick. How crazy is that, Rick? Geno leaves Seattle. They end up becoming the 1 seed. He goes to the Raiders, and they end up having the number 1 overall pick. But that's Geno for you. Oh, no, Geno. It's just he's scarred a lot in that role. But the truth of the matter is Seattle found their guy. Mike McDonald, with his smooth ways, has led these men in a grown-up way. And he's got the defense flying around like the Legion of Boom 2.0. Sam Darnold does enough. Kenny Walker can run the football. And Jackson Smith and Jigba is the best receiver in football, Rick. He plays on the West Coast, but every time I see him, he's making plays all over the place. Between him and Puka Nacua, I think they both had double-figure catches in the game, or over 140 yards, one of the two. The game was a really back-and-forth game, Rick, and you think about McVay, same kind of thing. They're down 31-27, Rick. They're in the red zone areas, 4th down, and so he goes for it. They don't make it. Kick the field goal. Let's make that 31-30. Then that puts pressure on Seattle to have to do more than have to worry about you getting a TD. They had to try to maybe answer that. That's my take on it. Then when the Rams got the ball late in the game, maybe they get a chance to kick a field goal. I just feel like these fourth down going fours have run their course a little bit. But I'm with you. The most complete football team that I saw playing this year, to me, was between two teams. It was between Seattle and the Rams. I thought the Rams, forget their record, I thought the Rams and Seattle were the two best football teams that I saw play completely all season long. I think the Rams defense was a little suspect, but let's call it what it is. We had 2 1 seeds playing for the chance to go to the Super Bowl, and both should have been in. As it turned out, we got a 1 versus a 2 on the other side. And Seattle, to me, is the most complete team. And what a story it'll be. They hold that trophy up for a second-year coach that's probably under 40 years old. Congratulations to the Seahawks as they go. They don't have to travel far. They're on the West Coast. Super Bowls in Santa Clara. And so the Patriots, we haven't even talked about them. About Mike Vrabel, Rick. What do you think? What do you think about Tennessee right now? What do you think Tennessee's thinking right now?
Yeah, both. Yeah, Tennessee and Minnesota both are like.
Yeah, you're sitting there watching the Super Bowl with guys we could have had and wouldn't have even been a straight. Mike Vrabel didn't want to leave Tennessee. He didn't want to leave Tennessee.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
You know, Derrick Henry leaves there. He rejuvenates his career in Baltimore. You're thinking to yourself, who's running the Tennessee Titans? So good luck, Robert Saleh. That's your baby now. You deal with that leadership down there. And I like Saleh. I think he'll do a fine job. And I think his offensive coordinator is actually going to be Dayball from the Giants. I think he's going to be his OC there, I think I saw. So, but yeah, we've got ourselves a Super Bowl that I think we can feel good about. Rick's two good teams, 2 high-level teams going to play well. Mike Vrabel's going to have his boys ready. You know, you and I are fans of him. We knew when New England made the decision to move on from Jared Mayo that they had Vrabel lined up, probably had him lined up the whole year. They were just waiting on it to happen. So congratulations to both teams, Rick. And for you and I, it is off-season time. It's draft time coming up. I guess
wait till next year. Here we go.
Well, I've only been waiting for next year for about 52 years. I think 1973 since the Dolphins hoisted the trophy in back-to-back years.
Well, it will be interesting. Hopefully we get you back on next week and we can get you for a preview. I like the fact that it's going to be on grass. At least the Super Bowl's on grass.
100%. Yeah, I think the players love that. And I think too, yeah, we'll definitely get back together next week because we got to figure out who we like in this bad boy and unpack some of the stuff. And then Rick, after that, we'll start segueing into draft and free agency a little bit and see what's going on, man. It'll be here before you know it as we launch this last show of January, man. February 1st is Sunday. Groundhog Day is Monday. That's right. And let's keep checking these cold winter months off, man. And you got a game tonight and Saturday, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Saturday is going to be very interesting with this new forecast because I'm not with the team. So
yeah, it's a solo act, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what Saturday brings. But yeah, we're down in Charleston tonight. Won't be an easy game. Charleston's struggling, but they've lost 3 overtime games during this streak. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, Charleston team's good. They beat Richmond earlier this year, so they're pretty good. Now, so Rick, will you be able to be virtual Saturday if possible?
Well, it might have to be. There's no getting over the mountain, and I don't have a room, so it's like we have to make some discussions here soon about
where Rick is Saturday's game.
Clinton, South Carolina.
Oh, upstate.
Yeah,
Presbyterian.
Yeah, so they'll get there easily they'll be okay. I don't know how they're getting back Saturday.
Yeah, they may not. They
won't be making it back Saturday.
If they didn't play tonight, they probably would have moved that game to Friday. Had they played last night, probably like they did last week, that probably would have been
exactly. But you see, for some reason, when they start playing the Thursday games in the Big South for ESPNU, all the coaches complained. They wanted. No, it's not fair that we have to play on Thursday and everybody else has an extra day, blah, blah, blah. So they moved every game to Thursday when the rotating TV schedule starts.
Oh, wow. That's why it's happening. Okay. And now here we are with this weather. So you don't have any flexibility to move any of that stuff around.
Hindsight would have been,
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have you as always, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Rick. Appreciate it. Sorry for the delay, man. We will catch up next week.
Yes.
And we got to unpack the Super Bowl and other good stuff, man. So y'all be safe out there.
We will.
My man.
All right, brother.
Thanks
Take care, man. All right. Be good. There you go.
See.
David Smith, the best in the business. We appreciate David mightily as always. hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, also here on the text line here. Let me get Andy's invite sent. People asking, no Rags and no Marty because they're sick. No one else to say it. Everybody is sick. Everybody is sick. So we will have those gentlemen on with us next week. We're going to redo it next week. So what is Wayne doing? Is he in here whining about Carolina? Is that what he's doing? Yeah. Okay. They were +2 on turnovers. Turnovers that the Broncos forced. All right. He didn't just fumble. He was stripped. There's a difference in a fumble and a fumble call. We're going to get into, because you wanted Carolina to win, we're going to get into numbers now. That doesn't change the scoreboard. So all those great Virginia Tech teams, when they won games purely because of their defense, it doesn't count. The Steelers in the 70s, the Ravens, the Giants. Last I checked, defense wins championships. Was that not coined a long time ago in the 60s? But that's okay. That's okay. Joining us now on the program, there he is. He's the lead writer for Tech Sideline. His name is Andy Bitter. What's up, AB?
Not much. How you doing this morning?
Well, we're hanging in there, man. We're hanging in there. Your thoughts on stuff here as we're settling. Where are we with, I think next week now is going to be the chance to talk to people. Is that right?
Yeah, thinking so. I think they're still ironing some stuff out. So hopefully we hear from some of the coaches next week and catch up a little bit on what's been going on. It's been a while since we've talked to anybody.
I was going to say, it's tough, isn't it? What have you been able to figure out since then? Have you gotten any new info? We kind of know what the staff looks like. I mean, how are things sitting right now?
Yeah, I mean, the staff's complete, and we've gotten all the contracts for the entire staff. I don't know why they haven't announced them yet. It's been complete. They've been working for a while. They've been recruiting together for a while. Nick Perry, the last guy coming on board, he'll be the cornerbacks coach. Anthony Midget will actually coach safeties.
Okay.
Which was kind of a switch from what they originally said it was going to be. But I think some of the interesting things is all the analysts that they've brought in. We knew Danny Rocco, Warren Ruggiero coming in, Josh Conklin now, a defensive side. So, I mean, these are 3 guys that have been head coaches before that they have on their staff that are, in those roles where they can coach, but don't necessarily have to go out and recruit, which I think might be, preferable for a lot of guys that
sure.
You reach a certain point in your career and you're like, I just can't go on the road begging these high school kids anymore. I just can't do it. There's a coach I covered in Auburn where he's like, I'm going out begging. I got to go beg these high school kids to come play for me. It's like, it's doesn't seem like it's a fun thing. So it's a lot of coaching experience that they have on the staff that aren't necessarily one of the 10 quote unquote on-field coaches, but that you're allowed to coach now. So I think it's a good way to set it up.
That's a great point, because you do have guys that are just like, okay, I'm out. Don't want to do that anymore. Don't understand it. Don't want to do it. Don't want to deal with it. So that's true. And I don't know whether that was a conscious thought, but that's certainly the way it worked out, didn't it, with the makeup of the staff? So yeah.
I think you need to. I mean, that's part of what Franklin is doing. Is he had an army of guys when he was up at Penn State, and I feel like they have an army of guys here to the point that I don't know if they know where to put them all. And they're displacing some people over at Merriman just to fit these people into temporary offices, and they're going to build up Merriman a lot more than it is right now, just to give them some more space. So it'll be interesting to see what they do once this whole thing settles down. But they're definitely making moves here early.
Well, as you sit and wait, I certainly hope that you get that access next week. The Mensa thing played itself out. What were some of your thoughts about that? Settlement. He's now going to be Miami's quarterback, and I don't know what Duke's going to do, but the new rule of college football starting to show his ugly head more and more.
Yeah, I think this was always how it was going to end. I said early on, I think money's going to change hands, and then he's going to go to play where he wants this year. And it's funny that like, oh, he's finally free. He's gonna visit Miami. Like he's committed to Miami. Oh, shocking. That's the way it was. I think there's a couple lessons in this whole thing. These aren't actually employment contracts. I think if they would have brought these things, if this was like a real contract in a real employment situation, and they brought this in the court, and it was a signed deal, I think labor lawyers and labor disputes like that, they've seen these contracts before, and if they're legit, then they'd be tough to break in a situation like this. But these are pseudo contracts, and they write around. They actually write in there on all these NIL deals. They're like, this is not an employment contract, and we're not paying you to play here. We're paying you for your NIL rights to market you when you're here. And it's like, I think if you get into labor law and they see real contracts, they know how to handle those. But these aren't real contracts. So it's this huge gray area of how enforceable they are. That's how legal disputes work, is people, explore the studio space in that massive gray area of these contracts. You're going to have people trying to puncture holes in this whole thing. Yeah. So again, it's the system coming home to roost here for college administrators, because they've refused to acknowledge what the reality is of this whole situation for the longest time. So don't believe these contracts are ironclad, or that you can't get out of them. You can typically buy your way out of any contract. But I think the lesson for schools is write a buyout figure into your contracts, because I think Washington had one with DeMond Washington.
I was going to ask you about what was the difference in the two scenarios. So.
I think they had an actual figure that was pretty hefty in there for a buyout. And that's part of the reason why he couldn't get out of that, is that the other school just wasn't going to pay the buyout. And Mensa did not have anything. And they put in, the damage would be irreparable if he were to go somewhere else. And I think you get into a legal situation, you go, come on now, name a figure. And that's what this whole arbitration was about, was coming to a figure. I love the reporting, but they're like, oh, this was between Mensa and Duke. Miami had nothing to do with it. It's like, right, where do you think the money's coming from, the buyout on this whole thing? Like, you think these two entities just met each other for the first time after he was a free agent in this whole thing?
Right.
I mean, I don't feel like there are any innocent parties in this whole thing. I don't think Miami acted great. I certainly don't think Mensa acted great. But at the same time, I don't really feel sorry for Duke, because they're sitting here crying about being poached. And, they took Mensa from Tulane, and they took Marquette from Harvard, and these weren't their players to begin with anyway. And people say, oh, they handled the transfer process properly before. It's like, we see tampering all the time with these guys. I don't believe any of this stuff is clean. When these guys are moving from school to school. So while we have this system, this is just a food chain type thing. Miami was higher up on the food chain, and they big time Duke on this, just like Duke big time Harvard and Tulane.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely no difference. We're not going to have official contracts. Who knows how it's going to look? But you're right. These are just agreements more than anything, and it's frustrating because now fans will be like, "What about that kid's commitment to us?" But like you said, commitment changes. It just changes on the fly. Just what we're seeing. So that's why I tell these Tech fans, don't get too excited about these guys that have multiple years of eligibility. Doesn't mean a whole lot. You may think it does, but it doesn't. It really
doesn't. And everybody's like, oh, you can pay every player on the team. It's like, do you need to?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to. Right.
I think NFL rosters figure out that, 30-40% of the team is just, bare minimum guys. You pay them what you have to have them on the roster, and then you put the money in other places for the stars, and maybe that's the strategy that you go with here. I don't think that's necessarily what James Franklin's doing, because they brought in a lot of transfers that were 3 and 4 years left remaining, and I can't imagine you come over here cheap if you're in the transfer portal like that, especially if you're a pretty highly rated recruit. We'll see. I think everybody's still trying to figure out the best way for this money management to work, and how are you supposed to allocate it? Where do you put that money? I think they're wising up that it's smart to pay the quarterback quite a bit of money. I mean, it's like the NFL, right?
Yeah.
All these guys are getting paid $40-50 million because you have to have the quarterback position correct. And I think then that filters down to the rest of the roster. But we're still only a couple years into this thing. It's not like everybody understands exactly how to do it. So there's probably different approaches that all these schools have, and it'll be interesting to see where this thing settles, because eventually teams will figure out the way to do it, and teams will succeed with it, and then it will be emulated by others, and that'll sort of be the way that it's done. But right now, I think there's still a lot of different approaches.
Did you get a chance to see Teal's conversation with Whit Babcock? I saw a little bit of it, where Whit's kind of looks like he's taking a deep breath now that he's survived the hard times, looking forward. So we'll see how all that plays out. I didn't get a chance to read it, so I didn't know.
Yeah, and he was on the podcast yesterday. We talked about it
a beautiful
bit,
okay.
Talking with Teal. It's what we had kind of been saying for a while, that we thought Babcock was going to stick around. Teal was more certain of that than I was, so I'll give him credit with that. I was like a little on the fence, but still like, why didn't they get rid of him when they got rid of Pry? Like, why would you make him go through all this stuff and, be part of the hiring process for the new coach, which he was. I mean, people like to say he wasn't involved. He was involved in that whole thing. Why would you do all that to make him the face of some of these announcements if he wasn't going to be a part of this process going forward? And, people want to dump on him, but, he sounded the alarm about this financial, shortcoming that Virginia Tech had. That kicked things into gear to, get the Board of Visitors to respond finally and allocate some money. And, without that, I don't think you get James Franklin. Without Whit's efforts, along with Jay Pearson, Ryan McCarthy, Bud Foster, I don't think you land James Franklin as the head coach, and that sort of turned this whole thing around. So I think credit where it's due. He was part of that whole process, and we'll see. I think they have set things up that they have a pretty good head coach now, a head coach who is demanding, who pushes for stuff. And that might be trying for an athletic director sometimes, for a coach that's constantly asking for more and more and more. But they finally have some resources behind them too, that they can give them more. So I'm interested to see how this dynamic works. And I think Virginia Tech has a much better chance for success now than it has in the last 10 years.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. I've been wanting to ask you about the Rutgers documents that were released. I don't know how it's going on there, but to say you're 70-some million in debt just this year, $500 million in debt since you joined the Big Ten. What were some of your thoughts when you saw those numbers coming out from Rutgers?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, they what would they have been if they were still in the
right,
whatever they were, that came from the Big East, I guess, when they got poached by the Big Ten. I mean, that still existed. It seems unsustainable, you would think, and yet they keep doing it over and over and piling up debt. So I don't know what the end game is with this whole thing, because it's not working. It's not like you're like, well, Rutgers is paying $500 million for all this stuff, and they're raising banners every year. No, they're not. They're winning a couple Big Ten games a year. And, I can't talk too much trash. They've beaten Virginia Tech twice in the last couple of years here. So, it's like, oh, look, this lowly Rutgers program. It's like, well, look at where they were compared to Virginia Tech. But it just kind of highlights that these schools can't continue spending like they are spending. I mean, this is a school in the Big Ten, and I don't think they've had, the full share of the Big Ten media rights until recently. I think that was sort of, brought in gradually, but I have to imagine they're up to a full share at this point. And if you can't make that work,
I know.
Like all these other schools, like, well, we have to get into the Big Ten, otherwise we just can't survive. It's like, well, schools can't survive in the Big Ten either if they're not doing things correctly. So I think at a certain point there has to be a limit to how much you're spending on some of this stuff. And, do coaching salaries and administrator salaries have to keep going up all the time? Is there a breaking point you reach eventually? Do you have to spend all this money on your swimming and diving team or something like that? Like some of these salaries for coaches at the Olympic sport level, I mean, these aren't revenue sports, and they're still spending like they're making money on those. And so I don't know. And then you add in the travel costs. I mean, they do all this stuff for football, and you're traveling to UCLA and USC for, I don't know, whatever other sports that for softball or something like that. what would you be? I don't even know if Rutgers has a softball team, but there are just some things in college sports that they could do more cheaply that they haven't had to because they've had all this money flowing in. But apparently, it's not as much money as people think because they're operating at such a deficit every year.
Now, I wonder if this is the first of many we're going to hear about. That whole thing with the Big Ten, that hasn't been a good return for them. They wanted that New York Northeastern market. I don't know how that's paid off for them financially, but clearly it's not helped Rutgers, like you just said, right? Jumping into the Big Ten. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's helped the Big Ten network.
They got up
foothold into the Northeast there. And Rutgers clearly isn't going to carry the New York market.
Right.
They carry the New York market like Boston College carries the Boston market. Like, it just doesn't penetrate.
No.
These are pro sports towns out there. But you talk about, it's going to come out for other schools. UCLA has been running a heavy deficit for years. They've been a financial mess out there. Now they're in the Big Ten, which is an odd fit. They're a partial share. They don't even get a full thing. I believe going in. Maybe that was Oregon and Washington. Maybe they do get a full share. But either way, they have some financial things that they have to work out there as well.
Big Al in chat says Rutgers doesn't get a full share of 2027. Wow, what a deal!
Okay, then they're still getting sort of weaned on to the Big Ten there. I mean, you had to take it because you're in the Big East and the Big Ten calls you. It's like, what? Like, I'm getting tapped to come into this conference, but competitively they're in a bad spot, and financially they're still in a bad spot. So it's not a great situation.
Other questions for you coming in. That's cool. I like people just asking Andy direct questions. John Boleyn's still set to retire. He's already retiring, right? That's done.
I think it's in June. I think that's when it's official.
Nothing's changed though, right? Nothing's changed there.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that was going to happen. So, okay. All right. I guess that's all we have for you. Question. What do you think of the let me ask you, I'm not picking on you at all, but you're a Minnesota Vikings lifer. I know that. You're an avid fan. And by the way, I have a jersey for you. Somebody gave me a Twins jersey to give to you. I got to get that to you.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Was it 50% off? Everything with the Twins seems to be.
Well, I don't know, but it's cool. I think you'll like it. So, any event, when you see Sam Darnold taking the Seahawks to the Super Bowl, what do you think? How does it make you feel as a Vikings guy?
I mean, used to it at this point. I mean, this is the franchise that when Dennis Green was the head coach and they were doing so great, his coordinators were Tony Dungy and Brian Billick, who both left and then won Super Bowls somewhere else. It's the franchise that had Mike Tomlin for 1 year as a defensive coordinator, and then he goes to Pittsburgh and becomes an all-timer there. So we've seen like a number of just fantastic coaches be on the staff and then go somewhere else and win a Super Bowl. So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see a player go somewhere else and win a Super Bowl, but it's just, I mean, they made an offer to Darnold. It wasn't as many years as Seattle, but I thought it was a fair offer. And when he left, I wasn't all broken up about it because having a rookie on a rookie deal, the quarterback, is such an advantage in the NFL, provided that rookie quarterback is good. I don't know that JJ McCarthy is good.
You don't know yet
necessarily. Yeah. In fact, I'm having some serious doubts about the contrary there. I mean, good for Darnold. It's good to see him go and succeed somewhere. This is sort of Minnesota fandom. The Twins have this stuff all the time. Somebody leaves and just tears it up somewhere else. David Ortiz being the greatest example of that whole situation. I'm glad for Darnold. I mean, he's bounced around the league much. He had that famous "I'm seeing ghosts" comment, which I think was against the Patriots back in the day. So they're going to show that clip on all the time here coming up in these 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. Good for him to find a place that worked. I had my doubts about him last year after the playoff performance where he was just awful. And, the Vikings weren't great at protecting him, but he got sacked 9 times where it's like, you got to get rid of the ball at a certain point. And as well as they did during the season, that one game, I'm like, I don't really care if he walks because I don't know if he's the answer at court. I don't know if you need to pay him $40 million. Well, it looks like it would have been wise to pay him some money because the Vikings were awful. Justin Jefferson was miserable all season because nobody could get him the ball. And like they had this ready-made offense for a passer in there, and Darnold was the guy, and he goes into Seattle and does very well. So, I'm rooting for Seattle, obviously, because I can't root for the Death Star here with the Patriots. Like I'm not
correct.
Like, no, it's just the Boston fans don't deserve this. They have so many championships over the last 2 decades.
Right.
You have the greatest player in NFL history on your teams. Like, oh, we got to rebuild. And then you just find another guy in no time like that. It's not fair. This is like the Spurs, like constantly getting these Hall of Fame caliber players. And, we went from Tim Duncan to David Robinson to Tim Duncan to Victor Wembanyama. Like, that's not fair that they keep getting these guys and turning them stars.
Right,
so,
right.
I think New England fans need to suffer a little bit, which is why I will. And for that reason, I will be rooting for Seattle in the Super Bowl in this one.
Real quick, people asking, did Whip mention anything about the whole dropping JMU in the conversation with Teal?
Yeah, and it confirmed everything we thought. They had a choice.
Yeah.
They made a choice. Everybody's like, oh, they told them that they had to play SMU and it had to be that week. It's like, no, it wasn't. They're playing Pitt that week.
Right.
The news came out that the ACC was expanding to 9 games in September. And that's when the discussions began to drop JMU. So they had months to figure this out. If they wanted to keep JMU and drop VMI, they could have.
Yep.
The ACC and other schools had plenty of time to adjust. This was before James Franklin. I mean, he was still the Penn State coach. So people were like, oh, James Franklin directed them to drop. No, he didn't. He wasn't even the coach when these discussions began. So this was an athletic department decision. And again, I get it. They were 3-9 this year. They were in the midst of firing their coach when these discussions began. If you want to get an easy way for the new coach to come in and get some W's without having to worry too much, then you schedule VMI off the start. And you take 3 of their coaches, too. So I know they have such a distinct advantage over VMI going into that game. So it's a bummer because I thought the JMU match would be fun, but I get it. I understand why they went that way.
Yeah, the reasoning is Prometheus is asking us just what Andy said. They wanted an easier opponent. That's the reasoning. Drop the threat and bring on a sure win. So
I mean, if they were 10-2, I think they deserve more criticism about it. This is a program that's 3-9.
Right.
Wins aren't guaranteed for anything right now, even with a new coach and a new roster like this. So you take them where you can get them. So I'll save a bit of vitriol here. I'd be more upset if this was a really, really good team that was choosing not to play JMU next year.
And one more from Tebow, and then we'll let you go. Right now, SMU, Stanford, and Cal are also getting just a partial share, right?
Yes.
Right now. Okay.
SMU is getting nothing.
Yeah, and they were fine with that. They raised money, right? They bragged about that, didn't they? They here you go. Here's the money you would have gotten. Go.
Cal and Stanford get a partial share, and it's like, did you even need to give them that? I think they would have jumped it a discount at Hardee's or something like that. I should have said Bojangles. That would have been a more ACC thing. Yeah. The joke was right there, and I screwed it up. SMU is just like, we don't care. Like we're so rich, we've got money coming out of the ground out here. It does not matter. You do not have to pay us. We just want to be in a big time conference again. And now that it's fashionable to pay players, SMU is like, we know how to do that, man. You see that documentary from back in the day? We did it the best.
Nobody beat us. Yeah.
They're just like, we'll fly in our flight of 30 billionaires or whatever it was, that flight that went up to Penn State for that playoff game that one time. It's like, how much money is on that private plane? That's what SMU is. And look, they've been very competitive even without all that conference money coming in.
And they will be going forward. No doubt. All right, brother. Well, great stuff, man. And hope you don't have to go. It looks like we're going to get hit pretty hard by this new snow. So
I hope not. I got class on Monday. I haven't had it yet this semester. We had a holiday and then got snowed out. So if we get snowed again on Monday, I'm going to be 3 weeks in the semester and I have not met my students yet.
Not even said hello to anybody. Wow.
I'm going to be in a load of trouble. I'm going to be trying to catch up at the end of the semester.
Well, and hopefully next week you'll be able to talk to some coaches and we can have a great conversation about that. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yep. All right, brother. Take care, man.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. There you go. Andy Bitter. Good stuff, as always. Good questions, by the way. Thanks for the questions. I'll be right back, by the way. I got Kitty Patrol. It's cold. So. All right, we're back. Good stuff. Good stuff. Got to give the guy credit, man. He tries to go out. He tries to hang in there, and it comes too much, and then he comes back. Yeah. Good stuff, though, from Andy. Good stuff from David Smith. We still have Dwight Vick. I'm getting a ton of text messages about, yes, today was supposed to be Marty and Rags, but Coach Rags is under the weather, and Marty's actually had to go to the doctor. He had something that popped up, and so he's okay, but his doctor appointment's like right now. He had to get in there first thing. So our schedule will move to next week with Marty and Rags. Don't know yet how that's going to play out, but just to let you know, okay? Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, the NRB Super Bowl, Top Shelf Apparel and Pulaski Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio, McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hunley. And Mark, if you're watching, I will call you back. Sorry, we were busy yesterday getting things ready for the trip today. Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, thanks to Jonathan Sweet for joining us yesterday. Presenting sponsor, showed you their new logo. Charles Lee and Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street. The attorney, Ryan Pry, in Radford, 701 West Main Street. He is a trust and estate planning guru. BDST fan question of the week. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of the program and of me. Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line. Travis Williams, doing a great job. Business is booming. Travis is unbelievable, keeping up his dad's business and the Ready Set Fund. And if you want a T-shirt, hit me up. They are $20. Showed you the shirts yesterday. Rodney, I got to get with you on that, by the way. And a couple other people wanted T-shirts. I got to get with everybody. But yeah, let's get into this a little bit now while we wait for Dwight. Let me catch up on chat. And here's some things you can just say it the way it is. And you can flip it into whatever you want. It is what it is. Witt confirmed it yesterday. There's no more ambiguity. Just say it the way it is. As Andy just said it. Virginia Tech dropped James Madison because it would have been very hard. And they kept the team they know they'll beat by however badly they want to beat them to get their new coach and all the momentum going. I get it from a marketing standpoint. Two things can be true at the same time, right? And I got criticized. I got some crappy messages from people. So did David Teal, saying we were piling on the week that it happened. We're just talking about the facts. We followed that up last week with Matt Roan. We got it right from the horse's mouth, right? The AD at JMU. Two things can be right at the same time. Is it a bad look for, we'll say it, even though they're not now, the biggest football brand in the state, to drop a team that just played in the playoff that's at a lower level? Yes. Do you understand it the way Andy explained it, why they would want to do that? In their mind, they are 3-9. They don't really necessarily look at themselves as being, an 8 or 9 win team yet. So why not make it a little more of a seamless transition. You can understand both mindsets, right? And both can be true, right? Both can be true. JMU fan is going to run with it forever that Tech ducked them. It's just the way it is. Same way you would do it, Tech fan, if you were lined up to play, I don't know, Georgia or Alabama, and you had been in the playoff and things were building, and then it came down to a crunch, and Georgia, we're going to cancel the Virginia Tech game and keep Southeastern Louisiana. You'd be the same way. It's just whatever fan base you align with, you're either going to defend your school's decision, or you're going to be able to criticize it with an open mind, not hold it against them, or you can be in denial about it. That's what fans do. Is it a bad aesthetic look, especially for people outside of Blacksburg? Absolutely. Tech's been getting clobbered because of the dropping of JMU. Oh, that's not true. Prometheus says they did 2 different podcasts on that topic. Now they understand completely. Where do I fall on it? People are asking on the text line. I think it was a bad move. I don't care that you were 3-9. I don't care. And I know people are going to say it's a no-win situation for Tech. But you're still Virginia Tech, right? You're still the place that Frank Beamer built and Jim Weaver. And I know JMU had a great season, and I know they were in the playoffs. And they're not the same. They lost their coach. They lost 3/4 of their coaching staff. Not as many starters are leaving JMU to go join Bob Chesney at UCLA, but I think it's like 7 or 8 left. They were coming to Blacksburg. You had a chance to get national exposure for your new coach who wants everything to be about him and exposure. So instead, you kept the game that people are going to flock to because it's the first game for James Franklin, but nobody's going to even give it a second thought as being a competitive contest. I think even people, I saw somebody in chat, who was that, Chris? Prometheus? One of you. Said, I'm not even going to count that as a win. It's just basically a scrimmage. And yes, it will be, even with a bunch of new players. As Andy just said, they have 3 coaches from that staff for VMI. They're rebuilding their staff. And what did they win last year? 1 game? 2 games? But here's the other side of it. Once you get the non-conference over with, depending on what the record is, and you start getting into conference games, nobody's going to think about it much anymore, at least in the context of next season. And that's what Tech is counting on. They're taking the hit now, and they don't think people will be worried about it come September or August. And that they might very well be true. For now, it's a bad look. It may not end up being that way down the road. Who knows? We'll ask Dwight about it coming up. That's the other thing, Prometheus, I want to ask you about, because I haven't read the article, but apparently, Witt was laughing with Teal. He was very at ease, as if he knows he survived something that maybe probably many people giving his title and giving it what happened would not have survived, because he made the comment, now it's going to feel good to start being on offense again. How does that make you feel as a Tech fan? I mean, I don't know the answer. I'm asking the question. So Kevin Myatt has just updated the weekend. He says, The National Weather Service in Blacksburg has issued a winter storm watch for late Friday into Saturday for all of its area, except counties closest to I-64. This looks like a widespread 3 to 6 inches of snow for us. If you're down toward I-64, 1 to 2, and it could be 6 to 9 inches near the North Carolina state line. So there we go. Awful news in every way, shape, and form, especially for those of us who are scheduled to travel, but I don't know if that's going to be able to happen now. All right, let's get some responses here from the best listening audience or viewing audience on YouTube. Coming out stuff, guys. Sorry. I have my antibiotics now, so shouldn't be too much longer. But I had to accept defeat yesterday. That's the thing. I kept thinking, well, it's going to come out. I've always beaten this stuff. And I went into a coughing fit yesterday. I said, all right, I'm done. I'm going to Velocity Care. Prometheus says, I personally don't care, but I would hope Witt would have gotten some pushback from Teal since he was the loudest one. So there wasn't any pushback. I got you. TLB says you sink money, time, and effort into achieving notoriety and prestige in football. Then you run from JMU and pad the schedule. And this is higher learning. Tebow says, either way, I lost no sleep over playing JMU or not. People will forget about it if Tech goes out and has a nice season. Yeah, and I think that's what they're counting on. Wayne says, what does NC State versus Virginia and Brazil do for college football? Absolutely nothing. Just wondering. Seems weird. I don't know. I don't know why we're doing that with our college. Well, they're not college athletes anymore. They're pros, I guess. But Prometheus says, Witt still being the AD is the main reason I didn't want to donate or get tickets. I wanted accountability. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, 3 to 6 isn't bad unless you're traveling. And trying to come from Clinton, South Carolina, through all of it, over the mountain, probably not going to be a good thing. There's no way Radford's making it back Saturday, because that game will be over a little after 4. It's going to start late Friday afternoon, go all day Saturday. Nah. They're going to be stuck down there till Sunday. Yeah. Big Al. Witt, less work with new football operations position, survives to retirement. What a deal. And that's the thing. Yeah, he doesn't have to deal with football. Maybe that's why he feels such a sigh of relief. Well, I'm on a separate path for me. I'm not with the team. They're already down there. So that's why I'm leaving today right after with Neil to go to Charleston. So we were scheduled to come back and then go back. Now, getting back down there wouldn't be a problem tomorrow, but yeah. I don't know if I can get a room. Things have changed. But in any event. So good comments coming from chat regarding that conversation there with Andy and Witt's conversation with David Teal. Good comments. Like I said, two things can be true at the same time. It's not always this or that. Big Al says, Witt, no accountability for a decade of failure in football. How many ADs could survive? Sounds like that's what he's thinking too. There you go, Brian. Yeah, 3 to 6 ain't bad if you don't have to work 10 hours in it. Yeah. Yeah, Fancy Gap is going to be – that's the problem. Leading up to and then getting through and then down. That's very dangerous. We played at Asheville one year, and we had a similar type of return snow to come home in. And we ran off the road in a van. Fortunately, we didn't hit anything. completely turned around, did a complete spin around. Trucks were wrecked. It looked like a battlefield. There were trucks who were jackknifed, 2 that were turned over. I'll never forget it. Ambulances. It was just, and I think when I remember all these images, that's why I just get so disgusted when people try to act like snow is wonderful. So we're going to have some conversations about it, what I'm going to be doing. And I do drive a Jeep, but it won't matter. If I even took my own vehicle, I don't think it would matter. I just wonder how, for instance, like UVA will probably be fine. They'll get here tomorrow. They'll go ahead of the storm, and where they're going back towards 64, there's not much snow down there. But like, for instance, the Radford women host Winthrop Saturday afternoon. Winthrop's in Rock Hill, South Carolina. They're coming right in the same trek that I would be coming back through Saturday afternoon from Clinton. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to look. I hope you're right, Prometheus. God, I hope you're right. I'm waiting on Kevin Myatt, who did say, by the way, even though he's got the National Weather Service, he's going to wait and release something tonight. So, yeah. But when you have the National Weather Service, I don't know. One thing about Myatt, he does not just sit there and just listen to the National Weather Service. He has his own setup. So, yeah. I hope you're right. Morris says, I will gift BDST a high occupancy pass. Thanks, Morris. Yeah, Rodney, that's what I was just thinking of. It would be different. It won't sound great. But the game will be broadcast on ESPN Plus. I could always call it off of that. Now, what we've done in the past, during COVID, when you couldn't travel, the snow starts on Fridays. In other words, by the time the Duke Tech game starts at noon on Saturday, if this is correct, Wayne, we'll say that, we'll preface that. If this is correct, there'll be several inches on the ground by the time the Tech game starts. If it is correct. But any event, Roddy, that whole thought, when you can get a raw feed, you get your video people involved, the game's in real time, and you hook up and get the aesthetic sounds. So when we would hook up and do games when, we weren't allowed to travel, you would get that raw feed and you could hear everything. It makes it feel like you're there. So you're doing the game in real time. The problem with Saturday is, as I just mentioned, our Radford women play at the same time at home. So all of our video people will be doing all that. There won't be any way for me to get that. So it would have to just be a call from TV, and it would be, but it might be the only option, because I don't foresee making it back over the mountain if this comes like they're saying. Tebow asks, Rick, have you checked out Phoenix Rising, Doe, and Radford? No, I have not. Really? Thanks, Tebow. Yeah, I'll do that, man. Says their sandwiches are the bomb. They have an 80s theme. Maybe they'd like to be sponsors for our March Madness. I will do that. Where is it located down there? Phoenix Rising. I like myself a good meat sandwich. Spend the night in Mayberry. Unfortunately, Mayberry is going to get hit harder than we are. That's the problem. That whole Mount Airy corridor down through there, they're calling for 6 to 9 inches down there. So that's what I'm saying. You actually eventually run out of the heavier stuff when you get back to Virginia. Oh, is Leo disappointed? Well, if Leo's disappointed, that'd be great. So you're not seeing, really? Well, that's awesome. What time did you see that, T-Bows? I mean, Prometheus. Let's see. National Weather Service issued theirs 3 hours ago. So what exactly did they say? I'll check that out, T-Bow. Main Street a block from the lake. Oh, okay. So I drive by there every day. Okay. Yeah, we can work something out with it. That'd be great. We are going to do some kind of March Madness. I can get everybody. March Madness is still, while we still have it, before it's taken away from us. Yeah, let me note to you, Prometheus. The one I just read you, by the way, to give you some context from the National Weather Service was 3 hours ago. So that's encouraging if this is a later update you just got from Channel 7. But you're right. If Leo's depressed, then that means we're not expected to get much. And that would be wonderful news. So now I'm excited. Thanks, Tebow. Thanks for the lead, man. Tell him I'll reach out to him if you go down there. We could have a lot of fun. But I do want to do something with everybody March Madness. We can have some prizes. We have, great sponsors. I'm sure it would help and get other people involved. But this might be the last year we have this NCAA basketball tournament the way we all love it. I mean, it's going to expand, I think, in 26, 27, 70-some teams, and it's not going to feel the same. Just not. It's all going to be different. And that's very disappointing. It is. A lot of people just tuning in. Where's Marty and Regs? Marty and Regs are sick. Coach Rags is not feeling well, and Marty's at the doctor right now. He had something not related to the flu, but something's going on with him, and he had to get to the doctor early today. So we're going to reschedule for next week, everybody, next week. So there we go. Well, I would, but I can't. Camp in Charleston because our next game is 2 days later. Did we lose stuff here? There we are. The NCAA basketball tournament is by far the best sporting event we have in this country, and they're taking it away from us. Hey, Johnson Island, welcome back. Yeah, I thought about, it's funny. I thought about you and Wayne. Todd Monken is a terrible hire on paper. Jim Schwartz wasn't great as a head coach first time around, but he wasn't awful. He's been there, and that's who the players wanted. That's who Myles Garrett wanted. Let's put it this way. Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Bills, just hired their new coach. They were going to talk about all these people, and Josh Allen said, I want to promote our offensive coordinator. He's going to go somewhere else. This is my guy. So they hired him. And I don't know whether it'll work out or not, but Josh Allen hired their guy. Myles Garrett is the Browns' version of a franchise quarterback because you don't have a franchise quarterback. Right now, Myles Garrett, in my opinion, is the best defensive player in the NFL. The early responses, he is absolutely disgusted that Jim Schwartz wasn't named the coach. And they're already speculating he's going to sit out until he's traded. He may never take another snap for the Browns again. And look, I'm not saying that you should ever, as an organization, always, let us put it in our own terms of where we work. One of the most frustrating things is when decisions are made and you're never considered. You've been there a long time and you hear all these things coming down the pike and you're like, oh. And I'm not saying that the influence should always come from your employees. But when you're Josh Allen, when you're Myles Garrett, you should probably get a little more leeway, right? You should probably get a little bit more input, and what you have to say should be a little louder voice. Hey, we want your feedback. You are our franchise. All right, I'll do that, Tebow. Thanks, man. Thanks, brother. That's great. I'll try to get by there next week. I'll do that. I will do that. All right, so here we go. The 2 YouTube streams was because of YouTube, TLB. They created that after we met all of our watch and rewatch metrics. They added a stream. I have not done it myself. And it's brought in a lot of different, I think I've written down, we have 13 different countries now that have subscriptions to the channel. So one is vertical, one is horizontal. Apparently it's just a choice in style. So that's why it looks different. But what they did, they nationally promoted our channel for a few days and got us, many, many more views. And so I just accepted it because I figured, I think that's a good thing when they're doing that. That means you're creating a buzz a little bit. So, all right. So what do we got here? That is correct, Wayne. Brad Brunell is the head coach of Clemson basketball. So, see, there you go. There's the problem. Southern Virginia near Galax, 3-6. When was that, Prometheus? Is that new? So Southwest Virginia, Blacksburg, 1-3, which would be fine. But you see, then you've got to come through. Yeah, it's like 13 countries. I don't have my country list with me. 2 hours ago. So his is earlier. Okay, well, now I definitely will wait for Myatt then later. Thanks, Prometheus. I do, Chris. You're right, man. Hey, if you're good at that kind of thing, I'll gladly give you access. I don't have time to do it. And I haven't had enough time to look it over. I do need to do some reels. You're right. 100%. I need to take some clips and I need to do some things. I don't have a staff. I don't have a staff. Just me. Which is why the sponsorships are so vital. But I do need to do that. If anybody is proficient to do that, I'll be glad to give you access and you guys can go through and y'all can get it done. I think we can trust each other. We're a family. Oh, is Brad Brunell underrated? I'm sorry, Wayne. Yeah. He's a hell of a guy, too. We've interviewed him several times. We've played Clemson a lot. Radford's played Clemson, I think, 3 out of the last 5 years. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, man, let me know. Hey, I'll give access. You guys let me know. I'd love it. Yeah, Brad Brunell's a good coach. He's a good coach. Took him a while to kind of find his feet there, but in the last 4 or 5 years they have. And he's a good dude. Really good dude. So when you're watching Tech play Clemson, just know that Brad Brunell's a good dude. Mike Young, Brad Brunell, they got a lot of the same characteristics about them. But, yeah, he does a nice job. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit yet. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you, brother. TLB says you need like a 6-year-old. They are born with, yeah, I know. My son does things. I'm just like, really? What did you just do? Yeah, they would be. Yeah, getting Marty and Rags kind of. Yeah. Or having like Matt Roan's segment when he was talking about the JMU Tech series or Coach Elmo. That'd be some good clips. Get Coach Elmo and Todd. Or when Ron Shelburne comes on and he's telling one of his stories. I get Ron back on here. He always has a new game story. It's great. It's great. Ron Shelburne, one of my all-time favorite people in Farm Bureau Insurance. Dwight Vick joins us here whenever he accepts the invitation, which was just sent. And we'll get his thoughts on whatever else. If you guys have any questions for Dwight, he'll answer them. As soon as we're done here, I'm packing up, heading down to Dedmond to meet Neil. We're heading to Charleston. Travel won't be a problem weather-wise today, but that's interesting. So 1 to 3 here. That would be great. Wayne, you'd be fine for the Duke game at 1 to 3. But that is much different than what the National Weather Service said. I'm trying to see if there's like an update even from them. Maybe they've updated it since then. No, that's 4 hours ago now. And Myatt has already said he will not update again until tonight. Okay. Ask Dwight how he picks his hat for the day. We'll do that. Well, I'll tell you this, Wayne, we won't have achy breaky heart, but Neil and I, since he's going with me, we will have the 80s tunes blaring. There's no question. And it won't be anything else. We don't need anything else. Morris says Ron is awesome. Can spew stories like they are flowing through his veins. Yeah, Ron Shelburne's great dude, man. Great dude. Really good guy. Somebody just sent me something. So Shedeur Sanders finally just said, why would I listen to Todd Monken? He hasn't won anything. Oof. Ooh. Dave Matthews. No, there won't be any Dave Matthews. No Natalie Imbruglia, although he will try to sneak in some Imbruglia. Although I think he likes I think he's a big fan of the Dave Matthews. We need you and Dwight's movie. You can't tell. Hey, you know what? That's not bad. That's not bad. You get Dwight. You think Dwight's passionate about tech football. You wait till you get Dwight talking about movies. Maybe we'll do that. Why don't we do that? I'll ask him the question about the hat. We don't really have anything tech related to talk about until next week. Right? Everything's just kind of players are done. Coaches are done. Some are here. The players working out. Why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? David, I may talk to you, David, too. I might figure out something to make it up to you guys. Yeah, we got to figure out something. He's got the clip segments from Marty and Rags. Yeah. That'd be great. I'd be glad to give you access too, man. Just let you upload them. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not scared. Nobody's going to not worry about anybody messing with anything. And here he is right now, ladies and gentlemen. He is the quintessential source for all things Tech football and many other topics. He will always have my eternal respect, because I say this, and I don't mean this flippantly. This is a man who made a decision a long time ago to look around at humanity and say, you know what? I'm going to do what I can to try to serve and help my fellow man. That's what you have done. That's what your legacy is about. And I don't tell you this enough, but congratulations. I know how many people that you have influenced, that you've affected. You've turned their life around, man. And kudos to you, my friend. Not enough good words can be said for you and Victory Life and what you do on a daily basis. And I mean that. So,
wow, man. Thank you so much, man. And it's good on this Thursday morning to hear some empowering and respectful words. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words and the feedback, as well as I'm glad to see and hear you're feeling better. I remember last week.
Yeah, I finally went. I know. I finally went because I couldn't lose the cough. So it beat me yesterday. I was out of control. I'm like, all right, so this might be pneumonia. So I went, and I've got bronchitis, some kind of weird bronchitis. So I'm on like 3 antibiotics. So I'll come out of it pretty quickly now. So
yeah, hey, modern medicine. We don't thank them enough as well. The doctors, modern medicine.
Yeah.
You know, imagine like during back in the day, man, in the 1800s or the Old Testament when they had something.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
They just had to get through it. I mean, probably back in the day, a cold lasted like 2 months.
Yeah, you're right. Never would go away.
Yeah.
Well, things are a little dormant now with Tech football. I think we might get some access next week, finally, from the coaching staff and James Franklin. The roster is set. So peeps are already asking me to ask you things. First of all, ask Dwight how he picks his hat each and every time he's on, because people love to follow your hat choices. I think that's
I got a lot of hats. It's just, I just grab one. I just, I try to wear a hat that I haven't worn in a while. I got purple, yellow, green. I mean, the one thing I would tell people for my diehard MLBers, my baseball fans, is I don't have a team. My dad is a diehard Dodgers fan, but I've always liked, since high school, baseball hats. I just think like they have the best variety. I don't really wear NFL or NBA hats. It's just a thing being from Hampton, Virginia, growing up in Hampton and Newport News, Virginia.
Yeah.
In the 90s and the early 2000s, hats were a thing. Plus, when I was at Virginia Tech, I wore hats, but not as much because I had a head full of hair. So now I keep it, let me put this hat on unless I'm going to be somewhere where I got to be professional, like with a, suit on or something. But it's just my thing. It makes me like the ensemble is complete when I can find a hat to go with the fit.
I understand. No, you're right. You're exactly right. So you're a huge movie buff. I know this. I think Tech football and then movies. I know how much of a passion it is for you in terms of things you like to talk about. So people are asking me about your favorite movies. Is there a TV show that you like now too? People are suggesting Landman, which I've heard a lot of good things about.
Landman, I'm on it now. I just started it.
You already started? Of course you have.
I started it last night. I just kind of have it on. I got into like a few minutes of it. I watched my son had a game last night, and I watched a little college basketball. And then before I went to bed, I put it on. I just finished. I watched His and Hers on Netflix. Big show. It's a thriller. It's about 6 episodes. A twist at the end. Just recently watched 61st Street on Netflix with Angela Bassett's husband. I'm not great with names. That was really, really good. Really good. And then as far as look, I'll be the first one to tell you, movies over TV shows for me right now. Only reason I say that is because I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, HBO television was peak when you had The Wire, Sopranos. Those 2 shows just had me captivated. Of course, Breaking Bad is an all-time classic. I don't. Yeah, TV shows. I don't watch as much TV. I'll do series. Like if there's a good series, I'm waiting for. I think it's called Gangland. I think it's called Gangland. It's on Prime Video or Paramount. But anyway, that was really good. I'm waiting for that to come out. Then I watched really good show was another one I watched on not on Apple TV. Gosh, I don't know if it's because it's early. I can't remember, but it's another show I watched. Man, it'll come to me right when we're done with this segment. I hate that. I wish I had wrote it down like when I was in high school. But no, there's a lot of shows out there. I think they overwhelm you now, though. There's so many shows on all these apps. Like, it's just tough to keep up. But yeah, I mean, if someone recommends a show to me, like I said, was it Landman? I'm trying to get in that because my man Billy Bob. Billy Bob's a funny guy to me, man. He's a funny dude. He's a really good actor, but he's funny.
He is a good actor. Yeah.
I almost feel like that's just who he is when I see him and stuff. My favorite role for him was in Friday Night Lights. I just thought he played a believable coach. That's a great, based on a true story. That's a great story. But yeah, I like Billy Bob, man. He's I like saying his name too.
Billy Bob. Yeah, that's a great book, Friday Night Lights, and they did do a good job with that. They did. Mm-hmm. Ask Dwight what is the most realistic or his favorite football movie. Right up your alley.
Oh man! Whoa, we gonna do that this morning?
That's what they. Yeah,
Billy Bob. Friday Night Lights, as I mentioned, is a great one. Remember the Titans is an all-time classic. Although living in Northern Virginia, you talk to people that lived through that era, they said it's a great movie, but Hollywood really messed with some stuff.
Correct. And that's my problem with it. It's so not factual.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first saw it, I'm like, how do you win a state championship game on a double reverse, whatever it was, but it's still it's a movie I'm gonna watch when it comes on. Another movie, it's not a classic, but it's I watched it when it came out. I was still playing at Tech. It was Any Given Sunday. I like that one a lot. It's not a classic, but it's a movie I like a lot. A movie that always makes me emotional is the movie with Mark Wahlberg when he plays the guy that walks on to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Invincible.
Yeah.
That's a true story. That's a
true story. I love it. When I was younger, I loved Rudy. As I got older, I kind of hated. And I'm gonna tell you why.
I hate Rudy.
I'm gonna tell you.
Cannot stand it.
I know that's the true story. When I was young, I was in high school, whatever. I was young when it came out, and I watched it, and I was like, "Oh man, what a tough kid, whatever." And then I got older, and I'm like, "Is this really believable?" Even though it's a true story. And then you start to Google wasn't out when that came out. Then you start to research it. He didn't get a sack the way he was. All that stuff that happened with him getting carried off the field. I'm gonna tell you another movie that's a classic to me. With Goldie Hawn called Wildcats.
Football.
Yep. Yes.
It's the sport of kings.
Yes.
The diamond ring.
Yes, Rick. Yes. Wildcats. Wildcats. Oh man, you can go on and on, man. There's so many great movies, sports movies, man, football movies, and I know I'm forgetting some. Longest Yard, the remake with Adam Sandler was cool with Michael Irvin. That was
cool. The first one. I like the first one a lot. Yeah,
the first one is the classic, but I thought they did a good job not screwing it up. Remakes are funny, man. Remakes are funny because you can really mess up a classic. But I thought they did an okay job with Adam Sandler and Michael Irvin and those guys. I know I'm forgetting some.
The Program. Did you like The Program?
Oh, thank you for whoever wrote that. Because again, I'm trying to. Yes, I love The Program, especially during that time because I was getting recruited and I didn't know what to expect when I got to college with Omar Epps. How about Omar Epps, who played in 100 sports movies? He was a track star in Higher Learning. He also played in the program. He also played in Major League. I think it was in Major League. Yeah. No, that was Wesley Snipes. But Omar Epps was in everything when it came to sports movies. But the program was a great movie, man. I heard it was, this is a rumor, I heard it was based loosely on Florida State.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But I mean, you talk about a golden era of, when no one really knew what it was like behind the scenes before we had all these all access and everything. I thought they did a great job kind of giving you a snapshot of what it was like to be part of a major program. That's during the steroid era. Place at the table with Vladimir and all of that. And, that nasty scene when they spit in each other's mouth. I'm like, ain't no way I'm doing that. I don't care. And it's not enough NIL money in the world where I'm going to spit in someone's mouth and make them spit in my mouth.
No, not at all.
But yeah, man. And then they had that scene in that movie that got taken out because kids tried it, where they were on the road and the cars were coming, or they were laying on the road and the car. They took it out. They took it out because kids tried and they got injured. Or I think a kid got killed or something. The program was a great movie. Great movie. Again, not Oscar worthy, but just, a great movie that you really enjoy. There's a movie with Tom Cruise I saw back in the day.
Yes. All the right moves.
All the right moves with that coach.
In Pittsburgh. Yeah. And that movie's good. Yeah.
I remember they were winning that game and they fumbled. Try to run it out. Yeah, that was a great movie. Yeah. Friday Night Lights, though, it's not my favorite, but there's certain football movies when I watch it, when they move me, like here's how I love Friday Night Lights. I know they're going to lose the state championship game, but I watch it as if the outcome is going to be any different. When they're driving down the field, and I'm like, man, this is just epic. Because I think if you played high school ball, whether it was JV or varsity, whatever year or era, you can relate to that final scene when they're driving, and most of those kids are never going to play high school ball together again.
That's right.
Yeah, you can relate to it, like the finality of and it was realistic because I think Disney, when they get a hold of movies, man, they kind of screw it up with the corny endings, man.
They ruin everything. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I just I'm with you. See, I feel the same way. I get people can't believe how much, and it bothers me so much how inaccurate Remember the Titans is, that and how they Hollywoodized it. It's cringe to me. Strong side, weak side. I don't know.
I think that shows you what a great actor Denzel is.
And he's my favorite actor. He's my favorite actor.
Well, Denzel, I think if he wasn't in that role, it would have been really bad because I think I didn't grow up in Northern Virginia. I live up here, but the people that know Coach Boone, they said he did a great job. And I thought the underlying story with it, with two coaches coming together to help with race relations and all that, was powerful. But it was corny in the fact that you if you know football, then the people that live up here, I live in Northern Virginia, they would tell you they didn't portray it right. They just, it was good when I saw it, but then you hear about, again, to win a game like that on a reverse or whatever like that, I don't know, it was weird. But T.C. Williams, man, was a great program. My high school, Hampton High, in the 80s had about 4 state championship matchups with them.
Yeah.
I think Hampton went 3-1, or they split 2-2, but they were really good. They were really good until the growth of Virginia, the reclassifications with the VHSL, AAA, and then rezoning. And now it's not even called T.C. Williams. Now it's called Alexandria City High School.
Really?
Yeah, they changed it. Yeah, I didn't even know T.C. Williams was involved in anything that was, whatever you call it, offensive. I don't know, but it's not T.C. Williams. It's called Alexandria City. Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing to hear.
Yeah, I know. Everything's different now. There's some nostalgia that we will always have to remember because the further we go along, everything's getting eliminated.
we Pulaski County High School, we played TC Williams in the state semifinals my sophomore or junior year. Lost 14-7.
Really?
Yeah. So they may have went on to play you guys. This is like 80, 86, 85.
Yeah, they did. They went to play Hampton. They played Hampton. Hampton won it in 85, 87, 88, and they lost it in 86. I mean, they were in the state championship.
Yeah.
Like 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. Like the 80s, Hampton High was like really the team of the 80s. They won state championships, either won it or they were in it every year in the 80s. Except for 89. Except for 89. Yeah, I know. Great run. We talked about that last week. What an amazing run they had.
Oh, it's unreal.
Pulaski County. I forgot you went there because Shane, that's where my guy Shane Graham's from, right?
Correct. Todd Grantham. Shane Graham.
Yeah, Grantham.
Gary Clark, the great Redskins receiver. Yeah.
They had we didn't play them, Hampton High did when I was playing. But my teammate, I believe, was it Ken Oxenden? Ken Oxenden went there.
Yeah,
I mean, went there.
Ken Oxenden played for Thomas Dale, and he was the tailback star when Pulaski won their state championship in '92. We went up there, and everybody was laughing at Pulaski County, and then a guy by the name of Eric Webb was the best player on the field, and we just absolutely destroyed. But I think Oxenden had all their touchdowns.
Yeah, well, I just know that when we got to Virginia Tech, when you're a freshman or sophomore, I'm sure this still goes on, but especially back then, Virginia Tech had so many in-state guys. We would sit around and talk about, man, because that's when you learned about the other areas, because the guys from Pulaski, Caleb Hurd and Shane Graham were talking trash to Ken Oxenden and Tony Morrison. I think they'd be Indian River too. And they were talking about the guys on our team that played against Pulaski at Pulaski were talking about what a really, really tough place it was to play. I think they were talking about it was like a pit, the stadium.
Yeah.
And they said it was so intimidating and loud. I'm like, really? And that's that 757 bias, man, because I had never heard of Pulaski until I got to Virginia Tech.
No, I get it.
Yeah, and then, but I mean, I was educated about all the different teams and how Pulaski during that time was a power. Yeah, crazy, man. That's the part I hate that some of the kids probably won't experience with all the movement going on.
I know.
Is that in-state arguments and camaraderie and pride and conversation we had when we used to talk about our rivalries and matchups. Yeah, those are some great comments, especially during the dog days or tour days.
And like you pointed out, that's when there were 3 state champions: single A, double A, triple A. You didn't have all this winning 2 in each, or whatever it is now, 2 or 4 state champions in every region. It's different. It's much different.
Yeah, it's different. It's also weird because you have losing teams, like really bad teams making the playoffs with 3-7 and 2-8 records. I don't know how that happens now, but it does. I mean, my high school 4 years ago made the playoffs at 4-8 or 3-7. They lost to Phoebus though, but they should have lost. They didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. I understand because, during our era, you and I, 8-2 and 9-1 sometimes meant you missed the playoffs.
You missed the playoffs, right?
Yeah. So 9-1. Think about 9-1 with a great record that is, and if you had a tiebreaker or power points and go your way, you missed the playoffs. So I understand them tweaking it, but they tweaked it so much. It's like they took it from this and they went all the way to the right to the extreme when they tweaked it. Yeah.
I got to ask you one thing about college football. This whole thing with the Mensa kid leaving Duke. He's going to be Miami's new quarterback. Andy Bitter was just talking about it, DV. It's not – these contracts, I don't know what they mean. I don't know if they're even real because everybody seems to be able to get out of them and do what they want because there's no employment agreement, if you will, with the NIL. Now it's pay for play. Let's just call it what it is. just want to get your thoughts on that and wonder what if this happens coming down the line with Virginia Tech too, right? If Grunkmeyer comes in and he's this mega star, he might be back in the portal next year, and maybe he'll say, "I'm going back to Tech," and then somebody will say, "Wait a minute, what if we give you a couple more million?" I mean, this is just where we are and how the professional mindset is completely taken over college sports.
Yeah, Miami, this is their third quarterback in 3 years, man. They had, of course, the kid Beck, and then before that they had Cam Ward. I mean, to their credit, it's benefited them. You know, both quarterbacks did fairly well. I mean, Cam Ward ended up being a first-round pick, and, you know, he's having his struggles with Tennessee, but he's still in the NFL making great money. Some make jokes saying he's making less than he is when he was at Miami. But, you know, on a serious note, I mean, this is the part where I struggle with it because I don't know his situation, and I understand the nature of today's game with movement. I wonder, though, like the kid, for example, was at BC. He leaves to go to Florida State. They start off really well. They had that big win over Alabama, and then they kind of wilted after that UVA loss on the road in overtime. Yeah. He was really the same quarterback he was at Boston College. I think, you know, if you're a college kid, there's certain programs that have that shine. You know, if you say you play for Miami, the U, South Beach, I mean, you leave Durham, a place I was born. I was born at Duke University, a great school, great community, Bull City, great area, to go to Miami. Obviously, both schools are known for, like, not just sports but education, but it just comes down to free agency. I mean, I've seen NIL contracts. Somebody sent me a couple of copies before because I was curious. I have talked to agents about this. It's not going to stop. No. It's not going to stop, and there's nothing coming down the pipeline to change it. I guess I wonder, is this better for him? Is this better, like, does this put you in a better situation to achieve your goals of making it to the NFL? Is Miami's OC better than the OC you had at Duke? I mean, did Manny Diaz, did you not click with him? Did you feel like you weren't being utilized right? Because these are the things I've heard when some kids leave in football and basketball. I want more touches. I want a better situation. I want to be closer to this, or this school is the school I always wanted to go to the whole time. I think those are all valid reasons. It's just one of those things. Does it make sense for you? And if it makes sense for him, then it makes sense for him. And he has to do what he has to do. I do think, like, even though Dabo Swinney sounds like the kid crying because he didn't get picked for the game, I do think he makes a great point with all the, like, movement as far as, like, tampering. You wonder what's really going on behind the scenes, the text messages, the FaceTime calls, like the agents saying, hey, look, you know, as soon as this game is over, we got some interest from, because that's what happens. When they get with their agent, they're like, look, man, are you really happy here? Because guess what? Michigan called me. I talked to them. They really like you. We can make something happen. We can get you about $2 more million. That's what's going on. And I get it. You know, for decades, these kids, including my era, you know, we made a lot of money for these universities, and coaches left all the time and they moved all the time. So, I mean, I don't think these kids are on some, like, we're going to get you guys back for whatever. I think it's just more so kids are moving around and they're doing what's best for them. And that's why you see such a fluctuation in the game, as far as 1 year a team is like this and then they drop and then they move up. And the continuity or the program building is very challenging now. Sure. And, you know, you mentioned Franklin. Kudos to him for what he did at Penn State, because I look at it differently now. Like, I look at who I played for with Beamer. Well, Beamer did have the luxury of having a staff that was with him for decades, as well as players he knew. Jim Druckenmiller was going to come back. He knew he was going to get Tyrod for 4 years. He knew he was going to have Mike for at least 3 or 2, if you include the redshirt year 3. Now you don't know. So to guys like Franklin, or even my man Signetti and other guys like that, even at the JMU Sunbelt level, to sustain success is very impressive now, because you really do not know. you really don't know who you have coming back every year.
Right.
And, you know, Duke just won the ACC. Miami's never won the ACC. And now Duke has to start all over again and find a quarterback. And the most important position in college football is the quarterback position.
If there wasn't a guy named Michael Vick, would Tyrod Taylor be the best quarterback at Virginia Tech during that whole era? I love Tyrod Taylor.
Ooh, when you talk about accomplishments, making plays, historic wins,
just
got to be
everything
Tyrod.
He brought to the table. What a leader! He encompassed everything Virginia Tech was supposed to be about, right?
Now be careful, Rick, because when you do I see this all the time on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. When you do these all-time great discussions, people, you might get some DMs. People get emotional. You know, you got Jim Druckenmiller, you got Will Ferrell. Jim Druckenmiller only lost 2 games his entire career, 3 maybe.
All great players at Tech. All great players. Yes, exactly.
I give the nod to Tyrod. He was ACC Player of the Year. He won 3 ACC championships. 3. One as a freshman when he split time with Sean Glennon, and he won 2 as the starter, full-time starter. And you look at that win against Nebraska, he beat Florida State twice. You know, he beat him in the ACC championship, then he beat him at home in Blacksburg. He had that run against Florida State when it was 3rd and 34. He was undefeated against UVA. He had that great, outstanding game in the monsoon, the storm, the rain coming down against Miami when Miami was ranked 9th. Tech was ranked 11th. And, you know, they beat him 31-7, led by Tyrod and Ryan Williams and Jared Boykin. You look at he was the only person to score against LSU when LSU dunked Virginia Tech 44-7. Tyrod Taylor, I think he's getting ready to go into his 15th or 16th year in the NFL, 15th, I believe. Tyrod Taylor's a winner. He won a state championship in Hampton High. I was at that game in 2005. He beat Stonebridge by himself. Stonebridge had no answer, and Todd, no answer for him. And he played quarterback and safety. He was the best player on the field on both sides of the football. It won't even close. You look at what he did at Virginia Tech. During that time, the only disappointment you can say is they didn't play for a national championship. What he did as a freshman. I mean, Beamer doesn't really bench guys like Sean Glennon, who was a damn good quarterback himself. Sean Glennon lost his spot to Tyrod Tyrod was a true freshman. Yeah. I guess if you know and look at it, Tyrod, the only thing I would look back on is do you regret burning his red shirt? Because if you kept him his dad, I'm close friends with his dad, we're both Hampton High. His dad went to Hampton High. Tyrod went. I know Tyrod. You wonder if you redshirt him that year, you have him that extra year with what he had coming back. Do you play for a national championship? Because they were knocking on the door his entire career there. But Tyrod Taylor, from the runs to the throws, and most importantly, this get overshadowed with the NIL and portal era, is Tyrod. I know this from the community in Southwest Virginia. I know this from what he does in the 757. He is a first-class individual.
Absolutely.
First class. I'm talking about from the janitorial staff to the cleaning crew to professors on campus to people that needed help. Tyrod was always there. And I think we don't publicize that a lot. You talk about, you gave me the gracious words. We started this segment off with me about all the great work I do, and I take pride in that. Tyrod is built similar. He just understands the importance of doing what's right. And I think now when everyone's hollering this and all the tension we have in this country and all the beef we have with different things and everyone being entitled, it's a breath of fresh air to have someone like Tyrod who's willing to give back. He's class personified, man. He's just
absolutely.
And he was fun to watch. He was a true Hokie. When you think about what he did at Virginia Tech, it's pretty remarkable. He was 2-0. He was 2-0 against Russell Wilson. He beat him twice at NC State. I mean, he was a better quarterback in both those games. The comeback win at NC State, and then the following year when they blew NC State out in Blacksburg. He was undefeated against Miami.
Yeah.
He beat Miami at Miami his senior year. I remember he scored that touchdown. He threw the U up. Now, again, in his defense, as far as like when you talk about like what he had, those O-lines he has were amazing. You talk about
they were
James
good.
Brooks.
Yeah, they were. They were.
And you had a stable of running backs in Ryan Williams and David Wilson and Josh Oglesby. You had great tight end play. You also had a defense led by Devon Morgan, and your receivers were Jared Boykin and Danny Cole. I mean, come on now.
Well, and I got to go out and watch. Richie Davis and I made a trip of it. We went out to watch when Tech played at Nebraska. We know what he did here against Nebraska, but he single-handedly won that game. And every Nebraska fan said, we don't get players like Tyrod Taylor. And I'm like, yeah. And he was unbelievable that night. Unbelievable.
He was. I forgot about that night game in Nebraska because he showed out.
He went nuts in the second half. It was unbelievable. It was just like, wow.
The one game that really would have really put us in a great situation was the Boise State loss because Tyrod was killing them in the second half. And then they had that drive and they had to settle for a field goal.
Right.
And he had that run where they thought he was down and he got up and he kept going. And I mean, he was amazing that night. If they could have pulled that win off, they go further in because they were already top 10 in that matchup. They go further up. I don't think they lose to JMU later that week. And I think they're undefeated the whole season. And, that is what Tech and James Franklin, I know we're up against it, but I think that's what James Franklin and Pride and the staff have to do for Virginia Tech, the program and the fans, is we have to stop with the what ifs. I mean, this goes back to when I was at Tech. We lost to Temple. We were ranked 14th in the nation. 5 to 6 teams lost ahead of us. We would have moved up to the top 7. But we lose to Temple, who had lost 35 consecutive games. We're up against Syracuse, and all we have to do is stop McNabb and them on 4th and goal or whatever. But they score. They go to the Orange Bowl. We go to the Music City. Mike and Virginia Tech are leading Florida State in the national championship game 29-28. 29-28 going into the fourth quarter. Virginia Tech couldn't stop Peter Warwick, and Beamer later admitted on my podcast they were chasing points. He regretted that. You have Michigan beat. Danny Cole did catch the ball, but they didn't call it a catch, and you lose the game, which could have been a huge signature win. Virginia Tech has to learn how to get out their own way in not only football but basketball. Our university, our program is great, but we have too many what-if moments. And you have to eventually get over this what-if moment or we should have won or what could have been and start making it happen. If Indiana and other programs can do it, Virginia Tech needs to start to find ways to do it. You got a lot of people that's been around this program longer than me, and I've been around this program since 94. And it's always been a story with us. Even in basketball, when they could have beat Duke up at D.C., I was there at Capital One Arena. You miss a layup. That game goes overtime, Duke loses. Now, they end up losing the following weekend or that weekend to Michigan State. But Virginia Tech had already beat Michigan State earlier that season. So Virginia Tech going to the Elite Eight, who knows what can happen? That's the point I look at when people talk about what does it mean to be a Hokie. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of, euphoric feelings I have when it comes to being a Hokie. But at the same time, we have to find a way to get over the what ifs. Or we get, that's our story. That's our story, man. What could have been. And it has to stop happening. And I hope James Franklin, because, that's really, if you think about it, wait for it, that's his story too.
Yeah. A lot of what ifs. A lot of what ifs.
So anyway, thanks, Rick. I appreciate you letting me
thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. As always, you have a great weekend and stay safe. Looking forward to talking with you next week.
You too. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care. There you go. Dwight Vick. Great stuff. Thanks to everybody, by the way. No show tomorrow. I don't know what travel's going to look like this weekend. It may evolve as the day goes on today. Great week. We'll be back with you on Monday. We'll try to get an exact day on Marty and Rags for next week. Hope they start feeling better. Thanks for all your input and chat. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. And hit me up on the text line all day long. I'll be traveling. I'll be on the road for a while. Take care, everybody. And we'll see you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.